Well, hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to my very first live stream. It just worked out that this past weekend I had stuff to do, and I took a couple days off, and realized today was NHL trade deadline date. I took the day off, so I decided I'll try to do a live stream and just give my reaction on trades that have happened and going to happen between now. It's just after 10:30 Mountain Time here in Calgary, so just another 2.5 hours under to go before the trade deadline. There's always trades that come in after the NHL trade deadline because you got the queue, all the trades in the queue, and have to register with the registry. So as long as you have that in before 1 o'clock Mountain Time, which I'm on Mountain Time, which that's why you get a flurry of trades that come after the 1 o'clock. So I figure start now and see how long it goes. But yeah, this is my very first live stream, so keep in mind that I'm still using the laptop camera and mic, and I just downloaded the OBS software. So I'm gonna bring up the smartphone and take a look at the trades that have already happened, and just can also say what you expect your team to do, or in case me being a Calgary Flames fan, what do you expect the Flames to do? I personally think the Flames don't really need to do that much more, as we did a lot of moves already. I mean, last month we got ahead of it and did make my video on it, talk about the Tyler Toffoli trade, which, yeah, that was 5 weeks ago today. It was Valentine's Day that we made that trade, and that was definitely a big gift that we got for Tyler Toffoli. Fit in nicely with the Calgary Flames, and then earlier towards the end of last week, we acquired Kelly Yarncrook from the Seattle Kraken, and in fact, he already has instant chemistry with cousin of Elias Lindholm and knowing Jacob Markstrom, and the fact that Calgary doesn't have too much more to spend. I mean, we are in a good position right now to not only make playoffs, but let's hope actually go somewhere. But the other impressive thing that I see the Calgary Flames have done is the fact that they've been able to give up this futures. I mean, we are in a good position if you look at the Stockton Heat, that we haven't been able to give up any assets off the roster right now, and as well on the farm. And if we were to do anything major, that would require that, and we've been fortunate enough with injuries that we haven't had any, and I just think the Calgary Flames don't need to do too much more. And as I say, take a look at trade, and there's one trade that happened that I think you can finally put one rumor or speculation to bed, as it would have cost too much to get a happy if it meant it would have felt good at story at the end of the day. But let's just take a look at trades that have already happened. That's as I woke up, is that the right now, I'll wait for a couple trades that are still, because I'm on the smartphone app right now with TSN. As of this moment, the Nashville Predators have acquired defenseman Alex Biega, which definitely know him from his time with the Vancouver Canucks. He's a big, stocky depth defenseman that can drop the gloves. This is Toronto Maple Leafs to be announced, so I guess Alex Biega. I think that's Biega. That's the thing I'm thinking of. But how about some more Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers switching sides? Well, apparently Brett Kulak, the defenseman that used to start his career with the Calgary Flames, apparently he is going to the Edmonton Oilers. Once again, this trade must have just happened because it says to be announced who is going to the Montreal Canadiens away. So Brett Kulak is now going to be playing on the other side of the Battle of Alberta. And then it's going down here that Minnesota and San Jose made a trade as the Minnesota Wild acquired defenseman Jacob Middleton, and going to the San Jose Sharks' way is goaltender Kaapo Kähkönen and a fifth-round draft pick. And I think we know why the Minnesota Wild definitely made that trade for Kaapo Kähkönen, because they made the bigger splash in the trade market, as there was rumors and speculation that Marc-Andre Fleury was going to be on the move as the Chicago Blackhawks. You've been hearing rumors that are they contemplating doing like a huge rebuild, like including maybe potentially moving on from Taves and Kane. But Marc-Andre Fleury is going to the Minnesota Wild, as going to Chicago's way. It says a 2022 conditional second-round pick, and the condition that's no one on here is the second-round pick that's going to Chicago would be a first-round pick if the Minnesota Wild get to the conference championship. So at worst, Chicago is going to get a second-round pick for a goalie that at first it looked like he wasn't too sure if he's going to report to the team when he got traded from the Vegas Golden Knights last season. Keep in mind, he won the Vezina last season. So that is I guess you could say, one of the big trades that's happened today. Other moves here, I think, is more just depth moves that you're likely to see more of. Is that the Washington Capitals and the Seattle Kraken engaged on a trade. Is Marcus Johansson, the left winger, is going to the Washington Capitals. Seattle Kraken, they're definitely going to be loading up on a lot more draft picks. As going to Seattle's way is Daniel Sprong, the left winger. Remember him more as a Pittsburgh Penguin, and then they're getting a second-round pick, or a 2022 fourth-round pick, and a 2023 sixth-round pick, and the Kraken are retaining 50% of Marcus Johansson's salary. So that's the one approach to Seattle Kraken. I think is kind of taking that the Vegas Golden Knights did at the beginning, is that the Seattle Kraken are using their cap space to their advantage right now to say, hey, well, we'll retain some salary for an extra draft pick. So the Seattle Kraken definitely have gotten a lot more draft picks the last couple of days, as they're not looking as good right now as their first team in the league. And then another trade is the Winnipeg Jets and the Arizona Coyotes made a trade. That's just interesting, the connection of both those teams. But the Winnipeg Jets, they acquired a fourth-round pick from the Arizona Coyotes as well. The Arizona Coyotes actually giving away draft picks. I mean, it seems like they've hoarded draft picks this season, but going the Arizona's way is two centermen, Brian Little and Nathan Smith. Brian Little, I think he's been a Jet. I think he was a Thrasher, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Winnipeg Jets also made another trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins, as they traded a seventh-round pick that's going to the Winnipeg Jets. Pittsburgh gets defenseman Nathan Beaulieu, so it's their depth move for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Looks like it's just a conditional pick. And actually, Winnipeg was busy, and they actually got to say hello to Mason Appleton. He is going back to Winnipeg, as he is going back to Winnipeg from Seattle for a 2023 fourth-round pick in Seattle, and I guess no salary retained. And I think I heard that the part of the rules with comes to the expansion draft, that a team wasn't allowed to retain salary for a player coming back to that team that they plucked from the expansion draft, because there was rumors about, we'll still touch on the trade that happened yesterday, that apparently if Calgary was going to get Mark Giordano back, we would have to have Seattle retain salary. Apparently that wasn't allowed from the expansion draft. And I think, these are all starting to get into trades from yesterday. Another trade, Arizona Coyotes picked up Jack McBain from the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota gets a second-round pick from Arizona. I guess Arizona only had so many second-round picks that they have to add to their roster. And actually, Dallas, they picked up a goalie from the Arizona Coyotes, as Dallas picked up Scott Wedgwood. He's definitely been on the move a lot this season, as it's a fourth-round pick going to Arizona in 2023. And then there was another trade that the Seattle Kraken made, picked up yet another draft pick, second-round pick, 2022. You're going to see a lot of Seattle and Arizona in the second round of the draft, as Nashville picked up defenseman Jerry Lauzon for a 2022 second-round pick. And then you could say a fairly significant trade that Tampa Bay and Ottawa made, basically added some depth, as Tampa Bay Lightning acquired Nick Paul from the Ottawa Senators. Going Ottawa's way is left winger Matthew Joseph, who will definitely get more of an opportunity there in a 2024 fourth-round pick. And then Vancouver and Toronto made a deal, as Vancouver gets Travis Dermott, defenseman from the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs get the 2022 third-round pick. Because we're in yesterday's trades now. And then Detroit and Los Angeles made a trade. This was just a depth move where the Los Angeles Kings get defenseman Troy Stecher for their playoff run. Who knows, this could be a team we might face in the playoffs, depending on how things shake up for the Calgary Flames. Detroit gets a 2022 7th-round pick. And then here's a trade that definitely Flames fans will be familiar with the player with. It's interesting that he's actually going out east. He apparently wanted to stay west, but apparently, I know that Vancouver fans are happy that Travis Hamonic is going to Ottawa, as he definitely has fallen off since his time here in Calgary, but it's a $3 million cap hit. Basically, Travis Hamonic's going to Ottawa for a 2022 third-round pick. And then the major trade that happened yesterday that you can put to bed, Mark Giordano is coming back to Calgary. The price would have been too much. Well, apparently this is what it costs to get Mark Giordano, but apparently no salary is retained. But the Toronto Maple Leafs, they acquired Mark Giordano and left-winger Colin Blackwell, who was picked up from the Spanish draft from the New York Rangers. Going to Seattle Kraken's way is a 2022 second-round pick, a 2023 third-round pick, and a 2024 third-round pick going to Seattle. So if that would have been how much I would have to get for Calgary to get Giordano back, and apparently we had to unprotect him, and ultimately got picked, and we've essentially moved on, and our defense has been well. That it would have been the price would have been too much just to bring back Mark Giordano, especially a non-expiring contract. Just have that feel good. Yeah, it'd be nice if he can come back and finish his career as Flame, but at least with Mark Giordano. Two caveats with him is he gets to go home to play in Toronto, which is where he's from, and he gets to play with longtime teammate TJ Brody. So at least he has that. Looking forward to him going to Toronto. And then another, you could say, fairly depth move that the Florida Panthers definitely have picked up is Robert Haig from the Florida Panthers for a 2022 sixth-round pick. So that's definitely some more moves, as Florida also got Claude Giroux from the Philadelphia Flyers, as they got Claude Giroux, a 2025 fifth-round pick, Connor Braun and German Robozov. That's all going to Florida. While the Philadelphia Flyers, they get Owen Tippett, 2024 first-round pick, and a 2023 third-round pick. And then that Lampus Lindholm trade that the Boston Bruins acquired from the Anaheim Ducks. Apparently, there was rumors that Calgary was in on him, but you got to wonder where do we have the space and assets we're willing to part with. But the Boston Bruins, they got Lampus Lindholm and Cody Caron from the Anaheim Ducks. While the Anaheim Ducks, they got a 2022 first-round pick, a 2023 second-round pick, 2024 second-round pick, and Euro Verslainen and John Moore. And then, yesterday that the Boston Bruins did sign Lampus Lindholm to that 8-year contract. So that's definitely a big investment for the Boston Bruins. But seeing if there's any more announcements on these trades that came in, well, there's still no updates on the Alex Viega trade when he's going to the Nashville Predators from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and also the fact that this is Brett Kulak going to the Montreal Canadiens. So there's no word on that yet, but there's just definitely a lot of definitely trades to go on right now. But there's a new trade that came down. New York Rangers acquired defenseman Justin Braun for a 2023 third-round pick. So that's just more depth for the New York Rangers, as the Philadelphia Flyers have started their unloading. It'd be interesting to see how the Flyers go at this point. But yeah, that's all we have right now, up to 10:48 a.m. So there's still a couple hours to go. But yeah, I mean, what do you think your team will do at the NHL trade deadline if you are in right now? I mean, this is still my first live stream, because there's only a couple viewers right now. But as I say, I'm still building away on this platform, and there's definitely a lot more to go with the learning with this OBS to make it as exciting as possible. But to continue on looking at some other trades that have happened, I know that the biggest moves so far, I would have to say, I mean, if you look back to the May 1st, or not May 1st, November 1st, the biggest trade of the year is still the Jack Eichel trade, where that the Vegas Golden Knights, of course, he went to Vegas, as he went to Vegas with a 2022 third-round pick. Buffalo got Alex Tuck, Peyton Krebs 2022 first round pick and a 2023 second round pick. So that's still the big trade for the season. Let's see what comment. Nice Seattle. Hey Aaron, hockey. Nice to see you in here. You said that my Seattle team let me down. Well, I'm going to say that they definitely took a different approach in my mind when the just building within compared to the Seattle or the Vegas Golden Knights. But I'm going to say that they definitely loaded up on a lot of draft picks at this point right now. And I'm going to say Arizona and Seattle is definitely going to be the team to watch at the draft, as they definitely have a lot more assets to part with that they could either bundle for more picks later or maybe also buy empty draft. But I still like Seattle in the future right now with what they have. But the expectations were impossible, I would think, for what Vegas did. That there was no way they were going to replicate that. But thought they'd be a little better. But it seems like all the players that they've acquired from the expansion draft definitely has moved on. And be interested to see who's going to be the captain of the Seattle Kraken now that the traded Mark Giordano, but the Calgary Flames haven't had a captain all season, and it's definitely worked out, I would say, in my mind. But well, yeah, it's nice to see you in here, Aaron. As I say here, Seattle, it's just still their first year, and as it was kind of just back to reality with expansion teams, that what Vegas did, and I think all the general managers learned that they coveted too much their own assets, so they gave away too many picks and prospects. Let's see. I think I've got a. Hey, Mike, how's things going? It says, hey, Brett, cool to see that you do a live stream. This is my first one, so it's definitely showing it's my first one because I know that Aaron Hockey said this is sort of boring, but I'm still learning how to do a live stream. But let's say, do you think Getzlaf might be a good depth center? I doubt Calgary should get Ryan Getzlaf in my mind. I mean, we definitely loaded up on a few more forwards recently with the Tyler Toffoli and the Kelly Yarnquart trade, but it just wouldn't make sense right now to get Ryan Getzlaf. I mean, it'd be cool because he was the hitman and he's forever a hitman, but I just think the price would have been too much. It just wouldn't make sense to just to get a veteran just because he was a former hitman, but I think it would just be fitting at this stage now that Ryan Getzlaf just fits in and plays his whole career with the Anaheim Ducks. We just don't have really any space for him at my mind. I mean, Calgary's been fortunate enough to be healthy that, I know yesterday they did put Brad Richardson on waivers, which I haven't heard anything about him being picked up, but we still got abundance of forwards. I mean, with Brett Ritchie and Brad Richardson, and then, of course, you never know. Everyone says we look for a depth defenseman. I think already with Michael Stone and also Yusuf Valmaki and Connor Mackey, even Jonas Klinball, I think we're pretty much set if we were to go in a long run. Just remember, 2004, I think we used 10 different defensemen. So, yeah. I'm going to see any more comments. As I fairness, just thought it'd be... Yeah, of course, if the Flames... I just want to see... Fair enough, it just thought it'd be a fine idea, yeah. It just, I don't think Ryan Getzlaf, for the reason mentioned, wouldn't fit in. And then that's the question about the, what do you think the Flames should target? I think we're almost set. I mean, if we do anything, it would be probably maybe pick up another depth player that's off the radar. I mean, apparently I've heard Calgary all this time. I mean, obviously earlier this year we were in the Jack Eichel sweepstakes, and I would say that it was worth it. But, of course, he had to go to Vegas, but I think Buffalo was fixated on getting Peyton Krebs. That's who we didn't have. And he kept hearing Calgary was in on the big players, but I think getting to Foley and Cal Yarnquart are the biggest biggest moves. I just don't see. I wouldn't be surprised if we do absolutely nothing because we did our work already the past 5 weeks. I mean, unless the only possibility I could think that Calgary might do is you hear maybe Sean Monahan, but I think he still has a role here. I think his role has changed just because of the roster makeup, and who knows, you have the injury history as well, that maybe he's not that scorer anymore. But I think some of the other major moves would have to wait till the off season. I'd be surprised if we do anything else major today, but it's deadline day. You just never know. So I want to see if there's any more new trades or any updates that like I say, there's a few more trades. Ooh, let's just go further up. Let's see, there was still no. Oops. Damn ad player. Still haven't heard anything about who it's going to the Montreal Canadiens for former Flame Brett Kulak. And there's still future considerations. That's what the Toronto Maple Leafs pick up for defenseman Alex Biega. Future consideration. So it could be they just got rid of him. Or I know that sometimes you make a play for a player and get future considerations, and you get just a couple picks or not even enough games played that anything transpires. I know one thing that immediately comes to my mind, that Calgary made a trade to get a player that was, when we had Dougie Hamilton, that we had Freddie Hamilton, we made a trade from the Colorado Avalanche, and I think he didn't play enough games with the Flames that Colorado didn't get anything out of it. And I think then another trade was we traded away Max Reinhardt for kind of that similar role, and we didn't get anything in return because he didn't play enough games with Nashville, I believe. Another trade that's just come down is the Los Angeles Kings acquired defenseman Frederick Allard for the Nashville Predators for Braden Burke. So don't know much about those two players, but gotta keep an eye on what the Los Angeles Kings do, just in case if we happen to play them in the playoffs. They definitely have seemed like they've had a short rebuild, as the Los Angeles Kings. They thought they would still maybe struggle this season, but they're definitely looking to be a top 3 in the Pacific Division. And who knows, maybe you'll have kind of the Wayne Gretzky battle with the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary, or the Edmonton Oilers and Los Angeles Kings, and hopefully they're willing to play on the Calgary Flames in the second round. Refill here. See if there's anyone else in the chat here. I mean, let's look at one viewer. Let's see. Oh, there's a question here from Mike. What did Mike ask me? What do you think about the Flyer? Well, they definitely have upgraded in that when they traded away Kapalainen to get Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, him and Cam Talbot will be the tandem. I definitely thinking that it is an upgrade for the Minnesota Wild, considering that obviously Marc-Andre Fleury has the resume for, the Stanley Cup and playing in the playoffs, and he won the Vezina last year. But it's definitely an upgrade for the Minnesota Wild. That they're a team that's kind of like the Flames or even the Leafs, where they just want to get out of the first round and see how it goes. But the case of the Wild, it's just that it seems like since they've been in the NHL, I mean, they started off playing that trap style under Jacques Lemaire before the lockout, and Minnesota just hasn't had that run other than that conference championship run in 2003. And I think the last time the Minnesota Wild got out of the first round was the year the Flames got out of the first round in 2015. But be interested to see how Marc-Andre Fleury does with the Minnesota Wild, even if it's just a rental. It should definitely be a boost with him and Cantel, assuming that they don't do anything else. And I can still say the thing that's different the Wild is that they have Kyle Kaprizov, who trying to change the mold of the old Wild that has had that reputation of being that boring hockey team to watch when they came in with the under Jacques Lemaire. It's definitely a good pickup for the Wild, and just see how they can manage to do in the Central Division, especially with Colorado and St. Louis. Let's see if there's any more movements to talk about here. Still 2 hours out from the NHL trade deadline, so there could still be more picks to come, but I think most of the trades today will definitely going to be all the depth signings. I mean, the other major moves was going back to looking at trades in the past. Apparently, the Calgary Flames are also in on Ben Sherratt. Well, ultimately, he did go to the Florida Panthers. Well, the Florida Panthers got Ben Sherratt. Montreal picks up forward Tyler Semrek, a 2023 first, and a 2022 fourth-round pick. There was rumors that apparently when the Calgary Flames were kicking tires on Ben Sherratt, that they were looking at possibly getting, let's say, a Jacob Pelche from the American Hockey League. Well, he is actually tearing up as a rookie in the American Hockey League if you look at the Stockton Heat, but I think so far we've been fortunate enough that the Calgary Flames haven't been able to be in a position where we've had to look at trading away any first-round picks or first-round picks that we've made recently, because we still got Matthew Coronado, who we drafted this past year, and it's from the state of New York, and it's in Harvard right now. And then you got Connor Zary, which Calgary's still high on. That it looks like he's struggling right now in the Stockton Heat, but he also had some injuries, and mentioned Jacob Pelche. So we still have both players in the system, but Calgary's still in the position to be able to trade away picks this year, because we only have 3 picks with the 2nd and 5th and the 7th as of now. There could be something else that could come down the pipe, but that's the other rumor, that we were in on Ben Sherratt, which I think it would have been too much to part with, and I just think our top six has definitely been solidified with how the performance, especially how Eric Branson has played for Calgary this year. It's been kind of surprised, and actually, if you watch Lego Rocks 99, I think he's a Canuck fan. He was definitely ranting like how Chris Tanev and Eric Branson definitely, they've been fitting well here, that they didn't play as well in Vancouver, but I think our coach definitely has played a big role in that as well. Let me see. Anything. Just want to catch up with the comments here. Whatever I see on here. I'm still getting used to this interface with the live streams. I know that actually when I mentioned that when I made my second channel in Brett Hornby Shorts, that I figured I was going to put that exclusively on my second channel. Apparently I thought I verified that channel for live streaming, and I had to wait 24 hours when I put in the OBS, so that's why it's on my main channel, but I don't stream. This is my first live stream. I don't live stream often enough to make it worry about, but I still figure eventually I'm going to separate the streams, or maybe I'll still probably put my main sports streams on my main channel, and then on my second channel maybe I'll live stream or something else if that's something else I want to do, because I still need to learn how this OBS works, where I hear that's the popular software that people use to complement their live stream. I mean, not too sure if I want to get into doing reaction videos on a live stream, which that would be more something I want to put on my second channel, or still I figured out how I can do any reactions, but then you always hear the risk of things get taken down if you do that as well. Like, you just never know with some copyright content, even though they say it's fair use, where if you're commentary on a piece of video, but I just still say this is my very, very, very first live stream, so I'm still learning the ropes and all that. It's definitely different than a video where I'm always trying to give out some content, and you just never know what can happen as you go out. But see if there's still any more new moves that has come down on the. Hey, look at TSN refresh. Still no. That's why I don't have TSN or Sportsnet on in the background of my TV, because you just never know, and they might be just loud enough that the stream could get taken down. But there's no new trades from the when it comes to the Frederick Allard for Brandon Burke trade. That is on the top of the list. I don't know if any of you go to Hockey Buzz, but I sometimes like to call Hockey Buzz the website where it's kind of like the National Enquirer or the Gossip magazine website, where you pick that up at the grocery store as a last second impulse buy. But I know if you go on hockeybuzz.com, there's sometimes some of the things that rumors or Eklund gets brought in is true, but yesterday apparently on hockeybuzz.com, in terms of what the Calgary Flames could do, apparently there's they said that Cal Clutterbuck from the New York Islanders, apparently there's connection with him coming here, but then the interesting thing is who do we give up, or how do we make the cap work? Which I don't think Cal Clutterbuck would necessarily be a fit in my mind, but I'd have to be convinced how it breaks out if that happens. But that's on the Hockey Buzz website. That's, I just say sometimes there's funny rumors on there that you go in there, unless you hear from like the Pierre LeBruns or the Elliot Freemans or the Darren Dragers of the world, that then there's a little more validity when it comes to the rumors or any crazy stuff. I mean, I guess Kevin Weeks as well, but it was Kevin Weeks that broke that rumor going back to when apparently it was between Vegas and Calgary for the Jack Eichel sweepstakes, and they said both teams were first and goal to one. And of course, I had to make a video on talking about that, the rumor that it was Matthew Tkachuk and 4 pieces for Jack Eichel, which that trade, if that actually happened, would have been much better for Buffalo than what actually transpired. But it still even seemed too outrageous to be true that it's like I had to make a video on it as a Calgary sports fan. And I'm going to say, if you have a chance to get a stud centerman, you go for it. Because the only way those guys kind of come available is either you draft them or if you back up the Brinks truck when it comes to free agency, if they're ever available. It's like Victor Hedman being that stud defenseman for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They drafted him, and then they've made sure they've kept him. He's never been available for anyone else. But that's all I got to say for that one there. I guess you can see if there's any more gossip on Hockey Buzz, since I mentioned Hockey Buzz. As I say, it's sometimes crazy things are on there. I know that for years, if you remember back in the 07, 08, 09 years when Daryl Sutter was general manager, that Calgary was always in on Ole Jokinen, and we kept seeing like every year. And the day before we traded him, it's like Calgary to get Ole Jokinen and said E4. It's like, yeah, sure. And then it actually happened. So don't see any other crazy rumors that I see on Hockey Buzz right now. I mean, there's some of them that talked about NHL source. They said Montreal might have called about Jacob Chitrin and Alexis Lafreniere. Be interesting. It almost seems like the Rangers might give up too much on Alexis Lafreniere right away, but he doesn't seem to be that big, first round pick at the time. But it's like the Rangers have at least time to develop his talent right now. But maybe one of these years it's going to have to happen when a first round pick, overall pick, isn't going to be in the NHL right away. Well, I guess happened this past year with Owen Power from the Buffalo Sabres, but that was because he was already committed to go back to Michigan to hone his craft a lot more, not because of Buffalo, even though it's been a tougher market the last decade. I think I got some more comments there. Yeah, of course, yeah. So I'm glad you appreciate my content, Mike. Actually, I'm just curious, Mike. You don't have any content yourself, or I see on your channel you don't have any content on there. So it's what do you make any videos, or do you just have an account to just be able to just watch and comment? Because I know when I first started on YouTube, the channel I have is my main channel is over 12 years old, which I did start my channel, and then I first started it by, I remember we were into Africa Day with Kane on, and most of those videos just put it on there just to warehouse it, and I mostly just, for a while there, I admit that I had a channel where I just did it just to comment. Like I never actually made any content until early 2018 that I decided to do it more seriously, but I do see a lot of some subscribers I have that they comment and say appreciate my content, but then they don't have any content themselves, so I'm just assuming it's a channel where you just have it so you can just interact. But don't they? That's my assumption. But is that the case with you if you're still around? And to say, keep looking at more trade updates, as I don't see any other. Yeah, no new trade updates. It's probably still a lot of phone calls or tire kicking, as the old saying goes. But I just still say the biggest names a lot of the time have happened a few days ahead. Which I'm going to still say, what has been your favorite move so far in the NHL when it comes to making trades? I mean, obviously, being a Flames fan, funny thing is, even apparently a couple of years ago, the Calgary Flames were supposedly interested in Todd Foley. Yeah, that was the pandemic season that eventually he did go to the Vancouver Canucks, and hearing the rumors then, it sounded like the price was higher if we were to get Todd Foley from at then the Los Angeles Kings, and that was when we still had Jeff Ward as head coach. It just made more sense now to get him, as the Montreal Canadiens were still, well, the Montreal Canadiens are just on a fire sale because Todd Foley's not a rental, as he's still signed for another 2 years. It just made sense to get him now with what we had in the roster, and of course with Daryl's coach, and then the fact that Kelly Youngkirk, I'm going to assume, we're going to sign him just because of all the picks that we gave up, and the fact that, as I mentioned, it just works out nicely if you make a trade with a team, and you already know that this player is, has past chemistry with the coach or the players. I mean, that's always the nice part, but doesn't always work that way in anything. But still, I don't think the Calgary Flames will not be doing anything too major, if you ask me, between now and 1 o'clock Mountain Time. Let's see, is anyone... Oh, stream health. I'm still getting used to the interface, what you see with the... Yeah, I'm just looking at the interface when it comes to doing the live streaming. Just wondering what those couple things were, but as I know, everything is still working on my end when it comes to the live stream, because there's times I watch other live streams and suddenly it just stops, but I know that still I'm a very, very small channel, and said first live stream that I'm able to still figuring things out and trying to gain traction this way. But kind of just get off topic from the NHL trade deadline. In the meantime, if you're watching this either now or later in the future. I did recently do a channel update video where I talked about future plans that I want to do on my channel. As I do plan to in a couple weeks, given that I'm getting old and just time has gone on. We all still marvel about the 2004 Stanley Cup playoff run. Well, if you do the math, the Stanley Cup playoff run for 2004 turns 18 this year. So if the 2004 Stanley Cup playoff run was a person, you can now actually buy a beer and go in to see Red. So what I plan to do is I still have like a commemorative Calgary Herald package and a couple books that I bought from the bookstore, talk about that magical year. And what I plan to do is I plan to do a new video series where I'll talk about the 2004 Stanley Cup playoff run and relive each game. I know at the time when the 2004 Stanley Cup playoff run, there was definitely moments that I remember, but I was also still a poor college student at the time, so I wasn't able to, and I did work security at that time. It was one of my crummy jobs, and there was actually a couple games that I was near the Red Mile during the playoff run working as security, so I couldn't really fully engage, if you know what I mean. But I definitely still have memories, so I plan on doing that video series here shortly, just to add on there, just to see if any more video series. But yeah, that was still a magical time, and I just think right now, although we might be able to say we have something special right now, but forgive me if I'm a little tentative too, because I have seen this before in the 90s and get first round heartbreak, but it'd just be interesting to see how it goes. But I want to relive that in a video series. I'll just try to recap every game and make it shorter videos, so I can maybe try to batch that. Then another video series that I plan to do is being a CFL fan, and not too sure if I'm going to buy the merchandise, but probably just going to be T-shirts. But remember when the CFL had teams in the U.S., so I plan to do that. But that's more of a summer thing when I'll be more into CFL and Stampeder mode. And then, of course, being the Calgary sports fan I am, I feel like I've been leaving out the Cavalry. I have not been to any games yet, but I understand they have a shuttle bus, so I plan on doing some game recaps for Cavalry FC. So that's what I have planned in the future. And of course, if I still feel like I need to grow my audience a little more to be able to do more live stream, because I still haven't been able to figure out how I can put in the live stream as a regular schedule like some other creators do. But as I said, I need to learn this software a lot more. So that's what I have planned. That's why I made my channel update video recently, that let's relive the 2004 Stanley Cup playoff run and all what I felt during that time. I just say that I exploded with joy when Martin Jonas made that goal. So there's still no new trades after the Frederick Aldred for Braden Burke trade, and that trade happened at 10:58 or 10:50 Mountain Time. So there's got to be a calm before the storm, as we shall say, given that we're still just over an hour and a half away from the deadline, and then of course there'll be always the moves that come trickling in later, and we don't hear anything about. But say, if you look at the TSN trade bait board, since we're here, let's see who's still number one. They have Rickard Rakell from the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, that's one team that's still looking to unload. And then I mentioned Max Domi from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Is he someone who could be a useful player? He seems like he's already bounced around a lot, considering he's played with Montreal. He played with Arizona. I mean, Max Domi, is he someone that's it's tough to beat in the locker room? And you got Justin Braun and the Philadelphia Flyers as in top three. But yeah, there's no, like I said, there's no Calgary Flame on the trade bait board right now. Oh yeah, there's one thing that kind of caught my eye on the trade bait board is, do you think Shea Weber, do you think Shea Weber could get traded? As not because of being the stud defenseman that he is, or should say was, but there's some speculation that one team that could be interested in acquiring Shea Weber more for his contractual rights is actually the Minnesota Wild. That could be something to look forward to down the road. Is maybe a team that is going to be in salary cap jail for the next couple of years. I know the Minnesota Wild, when they bought out the contracts of Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, that those cap penalty is going to be on the books for the next few years. There's speculation that maybe the Minnesota Wild might acquire Shea Weber in terms of his contract, just for that reason, so they can put that on LTIR, because there's speculation that Shea Weber isn't going to play again. So essentially, it's just his contract that is on the books for a team. And of course, if someone is going to do that, it's going to be a big favor, which probably might require actually a few draft picks. So it would definitely be a big bargaining chip for the Montreal Canadiens to have that to their advantage, because it doesn't look like Shea Weber is going to play again. And then they also mentioned on the trade bait board is Arizona's cap space. As I just still can't believe the situation with the Arizona Coyotes, that now the next 3 years they're going to play at the Arizona State University arena that only has 5,000 fans. And I thought it was crazy being here in Calgary when we got the team from Atlanta that they played in the old Stampede Corral for 3 years before the Saddledome was built. And keep in mind that the old Stampede Corral held about 6,900 fans and a few thousand for standing room only. The Arizona State University Arena is definitely smaller than the old Stampede Corral. I just got to wonder. I mean, apparently it's the temporary solution until for the project getting built in Tempe, Arizona, which I'm not as familiar with the Arizona metropolitan area because I've never been down to Arizona, but apparently where the downtown is, which ideally that would have been the ideal, have them staying downtown, but the arena where the Suns play, it's not configured for hockey. And then I hear that Glendale is just too far out of the way to go for just for hockey. And although I see Arizona, and then I see Phoenix, and it's like you see Glendale, and then you see Tempe, it's like, don't look too far away. But then you could say that about here in Calgary, but then it's hard to get there. But I'm going to say the NHL is definitely going to do that for the Arizona Coyotes. They can be patient with the Flames here when it comes to our new arena. I love the Saddledome. It's iconic, but if we need to get a new arena so we're more viable, I'm willing to accept that. But it's just I just don't have too much faith right now with our current administration running city council. We just have a different taste when it comes to electing city council than other politics. Not to get too political, but it is what it is. So let's see if there's any more. Yeah, saying there's nothing else yet. I want to still give my reaction to any more trades. If there's got to be more trades. I mean, I did plan this live stream just because I happened to be home today. It just worked out that way. So let's see if there's any more trades, any big trades that have come down since it's been a half an hour since you had a trade. What's going on? Yep, still no new trades. Let's see if I can count just today how many trades you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 trades. That on the TSN that was listed for today, March 21st. So there was 8 trades today. Let's see how many there was yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there were 10 trades yesterday on the Sunday. So I think I'm not too sure if it's just the salary cap or just trying to get ahead of it right now. But I know the trade deadline. I still say it's overrated, overhyped. It is kind of like the Boxing Day or Black Friday. I mean, I know that you're got lots of teams saying they're in it and they try to overspend. You know, as last check, there's only one team that has a happy green garbage bag day, and there's only one Stanley Cup where the math doesn't work. But it seems like it's now kind of like, Boxing Day and up in Canada and Black Friday in the U.S. that the shopping isn't as intense as it is back in the day now with online shopping. Maybe now with more teams being closer together with parity that could the teams want to get out of it. Because I think when I mentioned with the Tyler Toffoli trade when we made that trade 5 weeks ago, that definitely was one way to get ahead of the free agent frenzy or the trade deadline and get ahead of it. But at the same time, this was a player that we wanted to get that still had 2 more years left on his contract after the season, so he wasn't a rental. So it's definitely one way that worked out as well. But it seems like now more teams are trying to get ahead of it so that it's more of a trade deadline weekend instead of a trade deadline day, but then you're not going to stream all weekend either. But the other thing that's still interesting this season that if you look at the standings, that if you look at the Eastern Conference, basically unless someone collapses or someone that's in the playoff spot right now collapses and someone that's outside looking in gets hot, you pretty much know the 8 teams that are going to make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. I thought that maybe it could be a little more frantic activity with Eastern Conference teams. This is definitely a seller's market right now, I would say. If you're out of the playoffs right now, as already you could say Seattle has armed themselves up with taking on advantage of some cap space to get draft picks. But I was thinking if you're one of those Eastern teams that's outside looking in, knowing that, if you have an asset that is coveted, you could try to use that to your advantage, and maybe other Eastern teams looking to be able to outbid each other. You got to wonder if that could benefit them, but I'd still say that still got an hour and a half to go before the deadline. This has definitely been a lot slower than anticipated, but like I said, a lot of the bigger moves happened already on the weekend with the Mark Giordano being traded, the Claude Giroux being traded, Ben Sherratt being traded, Lampus Symbol, Lindholm being traded. So those did not happen. We're already off the board as of today. But yeah, definitely. One appreciation I do have with other live streamers is just trying to keep content going. But as I always keep saying, this is my very, very first live stream, and when it's a trade deadline, you're waiting for things to happen. I know that when I say other streamers or YouTubers I like to watch when they do live streams, obviously they got a much, much bigger audience, where I figured out that only 1 or 2% of your subscribers actually watch your streams. But not to say, in order for me to be able to do more live streams in the future, I'd have to come prepared with something else other than waiting for something to happen. But that would be more something I put on my second channel, I would say, because I still like making my sports content. And fortunately, it also ages like milk. So I'm just doing a refresh, see if there's any more trades. No, we're still at the 10:50 mark. That was the last trade. I guess it is. One thing is, it's after lunch if you're in the Eastern time zone, because it'd be 1:30 Eastern. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern my time. But I'm going to still say this has been a much, much slower trade deadline. I guess I could have waited until start streaming now, but I just want to get my first stream out of the way and see how it goes. But just trying to have something going on. But yeah, there has been nothing more. I think I already mentioned the Brandon Hagel trade. That's definitely a huge trade, and also the Tampa Bay Lightning. The dreaded Tampa Bay Lightning for June 2004 reasons keep loading up as they made that trade on Friday as they acquired Brandon Hagel from the Chicago Blackhawks. They also get a 2022 fourth round pick, 2024 fourth round pick going Chicago's way. They get a first round pick in 2023, a 2024 pick in the first round as well as Boris Kalyuk and Taylor Radish. And then I mentioned here that the picks in 2023, 24 are top 10 protected. So that depends on where the Chicago Blackhawks finish. But I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Lightning are also still building up, but it would be nothing but sweeter if we play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup final and beat them. That's why Blake Coleman came here. He wanted the third ring, and he said he ain't going to come in Tampa Bay. It's going to come right here in Calgary. Plus, he thinks he looks better in red, right? That's why Blake Coleman came here. But, yeah. Actually, I'm wondering, one trade that's interesting that Minnesota and Colorado made was that when Minnesota acquired Jason Yost and Colorado got Nico Sturm. I actually got to wonder if Nico Sturm, if he's related to Marco Sturm. Another sign of getting old is when you're starting to see familiar last names from players that you watched growing up. When you realize that's the son of that player. Just give me a couple more years and I realize I'll be grandparents. I do turn 30 or turn 40 in June, which is somewhat exciting and scary at the same time. Let's see if there's any more comments on here. Yeah, health is still good when it comes to my live stream. I can still say, still an hour out from the deadline. Been much slower than anticipated, yeah. But yeah, I guess the other updates I could give while I'm here, if you're watching this now or watching it in the future, is that yes, I do primarily make sports on my main channel, but it definitely seems like it's been a lot busier to make my secondary content because I do have a list of my secondary content like personal blogs and attempt at comedy, but as I mentioned, videos is that when you spend half your day spent at work, and then you get home and you're tired from work, and then you still want to try to have decent night's sleep and still expect to get things done. It just doesn't give you much time for making content, so hopefully I can get around to doing that, but depends if I also do travel this year, which I'm not too sure if I'm going to get to do that. Oh yeah, I've almost been on for an hour. But yeah, it's definitely been a much slower deadline than anticipated, but I just think all the moves that happened ahead of the deadline today has played a role in it as well. I thought there'd be a lot more moves, but I just want to still say we haven't had a trade in. Yeah, we haven't had a trade. Last trade was still that Frank Alliance for Braden Burke, and that happened at 10:50. And here we are at 11:35, so we're 45 minutes from a trade. I'm going to say it'll be a fire hose. Been saying that a lot at work sometimes. It feels like some weeks it's just a garden hose, and other weeks it's a fire hose. And I think the fire hose hopefully comes for the sake of this stream and just not try to fill dead air. But let's see what going on hockeybuzz.com, which I say is kind of the national choir, but there's sometimes apparently there's a couple of rumors that this is Nemestikov to Penguins, maybe. So does that mean that the Detroit Red Wings are going to trade him to Pittsburgh? And it has an E4, Nemestikov to Penguins. That's just a rumor. And then apparently it says Colorado's trying to land Raquel. And then, Braun to the Rangers. That already has happened. So there might be a couple other rumors. As I mentioned, NHL source, the Habs apparently called about Jacob Chikrin and Alexis Lafreniere. And then there's one rumor that they put up about the Edmonton Oilers that the Edmonton Oilers, they definitely need to be in someone. Yeah, they're my rival team, but they definitely need to look at their defense and their goaltending. But you always keep hearing about, they mentioned they're either looking at maybe getting Yaroslav Halak from the Vancouver Canucks or Jonas Corpus Calo from the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's what they mentioned on there as well as a rumor. But they mentioned that apparently Connor Garland might be on the getting some interest from the Vancouver Canucks. So it seems like there are some rumors if you look on the Hockey Buzz website, but I just say it's sometimes it's entertaining. Sometimes where these rumors come from, but I just say it's like the national choir, that weekly world news that you see at the grocery store as an impulse buy when you're waiting in line to bring your purchases in. And I still say, yep, still hasn't been a new trade in almost 50 minutes. So I'm trying to hang in there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to react to at this stage, or I just still say I just want to be able to get this first live stream out of the way and see how it goes. I'll make a comment saying no trade, no new trade in 50 minutes. Where are you? Where are you, general managers? There. I think I'm going to have to get up and stretch my legs here for a sec. Yeah, this is my smoking Diet Coke. I'm one of those freaks that prefers to drink that in the morning as opposed to coffee. That's what makes me different. There's people out there that also love their morning pop. There was one person at the company I used to work at used to have drink pop, but it was Diet Coke, or not Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. So apparently one person's watching. But yeah, obviously, me, that inspired me to be more active on YouTube is the hockey guy. I definitely enjoy Shannon. That's his name, Shannon, from the hockey guy. He's also the entertainment guy, so he definitely is my big inspiration on what to get me more active on YouTube. And definitely don't have the jersey collection like he does, but I just say I only got so much to get here. But yeah, I'm going to get another bottle here and stretch my legs, because I've been down for an hour and 4 minutes. But the fridge is back there, so I'm not going to go too far out. Ooh. Maybe it'll be some trades. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still in my loungewear. The one thing that kind of bothers me with these front-facing cams is everything's mirrored. So it would have been tough for me to want to wear Calgary Flames gear because the Flaming Sea would have been backwards. But I am in the market to look for getting a webcam. So yeah, I just wanted to refuel. Of course, I could have brought some beer, but I don't want to be drinking on stream. Plus, as you get older, it takes harder to recover from the liquor. Trust me. And I actually do find, to be honest with you, I don't like the taste of alcohol as much as you get older. And it's more expensive, so it makes it a lot easier. Pop is my necessary evil, and we call it pop up here in Canada. Oh boy. No new trade. And it's been almost an hour. Where are you? My app not updated, or earlier hasn't been a new trade. Even Gary Bettman is going to be wondering, where's these trades? If he was on the podium every time he goes to the podium and says we have a trade, people actually cheer for him at the draft. And I'll put this in order when it comes to the NHL website. I just still say I was still expected more trades, but I know we're still an hour and change out, and also the fact that as long as it's in the queue and gets in at the registry, when I hear fax, I'm like, fax? They fax it? So, for some reason they moved them. Well, I guess it's more official now that the Edmonton Oilers acquired Brett Kulak from the Montreal Canadiens, but it says to be announced. Yeah, because they moved that up in the app for TSN on the trade tracker, because it has 11:41 Mountain or 1:41 Eastern. But let's say Brett Kulak now joins the list of more players that have played both sides of the Bill of Alberta. Hockey Man 30, hey, how's things going? I was about to say, will you think the Calgary Flames make a trade? I am thinking probably not, at least today. If they do make a trade, it's definitely not going to be, the Tyler Toffoli or Kelly Youngquist kind of, quality or magnitude, because I think the Calgary Flames, if you read between the lines from the brass and Brad Shalivin, I mean, of course, no general manager is going to say, yes, we're done. No one's going to say that, but I think the Flames aren't willing to part with anyone on the roster and even in the farm right now, because the Stockton Heat are also, they're actually the first team in the American Hockey League to clinch a playoff spot. So the fact the Flames made the moves that they made, yes, we did part with a bunch of draft picks in this upcoming draft. They say it's a deep draft, but at the same time, we have, our team is right now and our farm system being the way it is. We are in a position we can sell that off, and the fact we haven't been able to sell off any assets. So I would be surprised if we do anything major. And this is our Flames. Well, they better be I'm going to say we better be a playoff team. They definitely. We have 84 points right now in the in the standings, and we have 20 games to go. I mean, you'd have to think the Calgary Flames, if we were to, we would have. I think it's still too early to judge any magic number yet, but the fact that we have 84 points right now, I think if we get 6 or 7 more wins, we'll officially clinch a playoff spot. But we're in the position we are right now. Well, I want first place in the Pacific Division, which if you look at the standings every day, I mean, if Colorado's going to get the top spot in the Western Conference, then that means that we'll draw the first wild card team, and I've either seen Nashville or Minnesota or maybe Dallas. I still think it'd be funny if Vegas misses the playoffs, but it looks like Calgary could play one of those two teams, or if the Pacific Division gets any stronger, I hope that Edmonton slips down. And it's been too long since we've had a Battle of Alberta. I mean, heck, it's going to at least be 31 years since the Battle of Alberta, and I was having a so-so time at James Short Memorial back in 1991. If you look at my school revisiting videos on my main channel, that was the school that my childhood favorite Flame, Joel Otto, went to. That was my highlight. That and I made a video talking about my funny lunchroom story, but hey, if your childhood favorite Flame went to your school, that's a highlight. But that tells you how long it's been since we played the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. But we're definitely a playoff team. There's no doubt about it. We have the right coach right in place, keep this team accountable. And you gotta say, I did ask the question back when we signed Jacob Markstrom, that we had have we finally found a stud number one goalie since Mika Kiprusoff, and he's proven that. And maybe we say that Jacob Markstrom will get at least 2 more shutouts before the end of the season, because his next shutout this season will tie Kipper's record for 10 in the season. And I mean, we get timely scoring. Our top 6 defenses, I think we're set. But I've seen this before, so forgive me. I'm a little tentative, but at least we're in the playoffs. So at least you can guarantee at least 2 dates with the Sea of Red at the Zone. But I want more than 2 dates. 2 dates. How about ideally we'll have 8 dates at the, or 9 dates at the Sea of Red. We sweep whoever we draw in the first, second, third round. And then the fourth round, if we play Tampa Bay, we'll give them a game, but we'll win the cup at home. How about that? 18 years too late, but we'll finally win the cup at home. It was just too poetic justice that it was Martin St. Louis that ruined it. Siren, we had him. Look it up. We had Martin St. Louis, and we just let him go, and he was desperate to play anywhere, and Tampa Bay signed him and carved himself a Hall of Fame career. Let's see if there's anything else here. Hopefully you enjoy my answers. I just say, keep in mind, like I said, this is my very first live stream, and this trade deadline has been not as active as you thought it would be. All the trades happened before. Hey, Gary Benton, we have a trade. Yay! The Ottawa Senators and Boston Bruins collaborated on a trade. Going to Ottawa is Zach Shelton, the right winger, and a 2022 fifth-round pick. Ooh, the Boston Bruins pick up a defenseman in Josh Braun. He is going to Boston with a 2022 seventh-round pick. So Ottawa and Boston collaborated on a trade. And then they're going back to the Brett Kulak trade, where Brett Kulak is going to the Edmonton Oilers. Well, the TBA is William Legason, the defenseman, going to the Montreal Canadiens. So that's a couple more trades that we'll talk about that has come down the pipe. And I think I mentioned Justin Braun. Oh yeah, so I think this app might be picking up, has caught up here, but the New York Rangers also acquired defenseman Justin Braun from the Philadelphia Flyers, going to Philadelphia Flyers as a 2023 third-round pick. So I think those are just the new trades that have come down. I mean, other than the biggest trade, I'd have to say that happened today, in the NHL at least, is the Marc-Andre Fleury going to the Minnesota Wild from the Chicago Blackhawks. But also, if you're an NFL fan, apparently the Matt Ryan is going from the Atlanta Falcons to the Indianapolis Colts. So there's another trade that way in another sport. So if you're an NFL fan, Matt Ryan is going to the Indianapolis Colts from the Atlanta Falcons. I just saw that notification, so you can look at that when they know about that. But it's definitely the National Football League is also always seem to have big news. I mean, I casually follow the NFL. I mean, obviously I'm more of a CFL fan, given that the product's right here. And obviously the Stampeders are my team. But the National Football League, it's the Los Angeles Chargers. Still firm as the San Diego Chargers. Excuse me. Are my team, but I do like the Los Angeles Chargers for my NFL team. At least it's a team in Southern California. So I was going to see if there's any more moves or any more comments. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm still learning the OBS, or I just said I didn't come in planning on reacting to any videos or to any live streams. And I know that you hear, some of these networks are big. That's why I don't have the TV on in the background to go back and forth with TSN or Sportsnet, because I'm worried that if maybe you hear a peep of one of the insiders' voices, that YouTube will go, psh. You hear those stories as well. That I think it might be okay, but I think once you show like something, then that's when it's get down there and don't want to do that. So that's why I just been looking on the phone for any more trades. But I just say there hasn't been too many exciting trades. I say I just got that. Apparently there's more to that Brett Kulak trade, which is quite a bit. That the Edmonton Oilers had traded away William Lagesson and a second-round pick. So I'm going to say Brett Kulak, he was just a bottom pair defenseman that we had when we drafted him in Calgary, but and then we traded him to the Renat Valiev, player who never played for the Calgary Flames. That's who we traded away. But I think maybe Brett Kulak is a lot more desirable as a commodity because of the Montreal Canadiens. Do you know the Montreal Canadiens went to the finals last year? You almost kind of forgot that, just the way how this season has gone. But, I mean, it's definitely been a bad season. But when you don't have your stud goaltender and your stud defenseman and lost Jesperi Kotkaniemi, that's definitely, you had a different team to work with coming in as is. So it's kind of unfair to expect duplicated success. And usually teams that usually do go on an unlikely Cinderella run to the championship, unlikely duplicate again, which is still one of those what ifs. Which, if we've gone back to the 2004 Calgary Flames playoff run, that although it was necessary, I keep looking back when the lockout that wiped out the 2004-5 season, that was necessary. The league needed that. They needed that so that teams, like the small market teams, could compete with everyone else. So that trade deadline day, everyone has the same shot at getting an asset as opposed to, well, of course he's going there because they got the money while this team doesn't. Which is still one thing that I think that's holding baseball back, is the fact that they still got the disparity between the big money teams and the small money teams. Where you got, the Yankees and Red Sox, they have all the money in the world. Well, you got the small market teams like the Rays and the Royals and even the Pirates. They don't seem to keep the talent, but I just say that lockout that wiped out that season was necessary. But if the Flames would have played in 2005, if we had an 04 or 5 season, how do you think the Flames would have done if we played that year? I know that I keep going back to my inspirations on the hockey guy, and he did a video talking about if there was a season in 04 or 5, who would have likely won the Stanley Cup. And I think, not meaning to roll out a spoiler, but I think he actually did pick the New Jersey Devils. They would have won the Cup in 2005, because keep in mind it would have been 2 years out from when they won their third Cup, when they still had Martin Brodeur and Scott Stevens, and they still had little pieces from that team. So that's what he thought would have been the Stanley Cup champion if we would have had a season in 2005. But that's just one of those what-ifs that we'll never know. Just like not meaning to bring back baseball, it still stings in 1994 when the Montreal Expos had one of the best teams in the league. They had the strike and wiped out the World Series. Let's see if I got any more comments or anything else. So I'm trying to fill time in between, but we're still an hour out from trades, and I'm thinking there's been too much calm, too much nothing happening. Too much nothing happening to not have any more trades. I'm going to say, yep, sorry now about the acquisition. Like I said, that Brett Kulak trade, I remember it was when I first started this stream, it just said Brett Kulak for TBA. And now you got, William Lagesson and a second-round pick. And like I say, there's still future considerations for Alex Biega when Nashville acquired Alex Biega for future considerations in Toronto. I still say that the biggest trade is still Marc-Andre Fleury going from the Chicago Blackhawks to the Minnesota Wild in exchange for a second-round pick. 2022 is conditional, and that pick turns into a first-round pick that Chicago gets if the Minnesota Wild, for the first time in 2003, go to the conference championship, which, if that happens, I would have to say Marc-Andre Fleury definitely would be a big part of it, because call me a little biased right now, but I think the conference championship right now looks slated to be the Calgary Flames and the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, if the Minnesota Wild do get to go to the conference championship, they definitely would have to likely face the Colorado Avalanche at some point, and definitely would require them stealing the series. I'm not too sure if the Minnesota Wild, even before this move, would have what it takes to oust the St. Louis Blues in the 7-round series. I mean, St. Louis definitely has the better goaltender with UC Vilio has been the starter, and then they still got Jordan Binnington. But I can still say that's the biggest move. That I'm going to say Minnesota definitely has stabilized their goaltending a little more. And then they still got Cam Talbot, who is on an expiring contract, but then that's just a rental, because I'm not too sure what's going to be up with Marc-Andre Fleury after this season, if he's going to still play, or everyone keeps saying he's going to go back to Pittsburgh, but even surprisingly Pittsburgh this year. I made a bold prediction, I remember at the start of the year, saying that Pittsburgh was going to miss the playoffs because their core is getting older, and when you got Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith as their goaltending, they definitely have stepped it up. And of course, I guess I can't discount Sidney Crosby, but then it was a Kenny Malkin injury too. But I'm going to say Pittsburgh's definitely been doing better with the goaltending they have, but the last couple of years, Pittsburgh also has disappointed in the first round too. So that's still the question to ask: is how will Pittsburgh do, whoever they happen to draw? And it looks like the reason why you have such a huge disparity between the teams in the playoffs and not in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference this year is because the 8 teams that are in right now are so much better. I mean, to stress how much there is a gap. If you look at the standings right now when it comes to the National Hockey League and the Eastern Conference, Well, the team that's outside the playoffs right now is the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they have 67 points in 63 games. They are 13 points behind the Washington Capitals, although they do have a game in hand on the Washington Capitals at 80 points, so that could come in handy for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But seriously, we got 13 points separating from the second wild card to the first team that's out. I have to say, unless someone collapses, like Washington or Boston, and then Columbus or even the Islanders go on a 12-game winning streak, I think we know the 8 teams that are going to make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to still say the Western Conference. If Dallas can ever take advantage of the games in hand that they have on Vegas, Dallas could, sneak in, because right now Vegas has the second wild card. They have 72 points, 64 games. Of course, I'm saying it'd be hilarious if Vegas just misses the playoffs just because of injuries and they've had all season. But Dallas, they have 71 points in 61 games, so they're 1 point back with 3 games in hand. When it comes to Winnipeg and Vancouver, Winnipeg has 68 points in 63 games. They may have an outside chance, and Winnipeg has kind of done a little bit of both buying and selling at the same time. At the deadline, and I think Vancouver, they might be a little too far out, as they have 68 points in 64 games, so they are 6 points behind Vegas right now, and they have to leapfrog Winnipeg and Dallas. So I almost have to cut the line off there when it comes to the Western Conference, but it's still crazy how the Eastern Conference, you have that 13-point gap between who's out and who's in the final wild card. So now it's noon, which is 1 hour out from the NHL trade deadline. I still don't see any new trades. No new trades from the TSN, so still have to wait. There's got to be some lurking in the weeds going on right now. Just like it's got to be some teams where general managers lurking in the weeds right now, as I'm going to say, as I don't know if there's going to be any more big trades. It's all just going to be depth trades, or that'd be the one thing. Wanting to be the general manager, did they start panicking at this time? It's an hour ago. Got to make a trade. Of course, this would be kind of hypercritical. It'd be funny if it happened 1 year. Although I'm kind of feeling it right now, being that this is my first stream, trying to still grow on here. I always think it'd be funny if 1 year, if no one made a trade on trade deadline day, just to see how TSN and Sportsnet would fill their time for 12 hours. I'm trying to fill time because there hasn't been as many trades as I thought there was going to be. And as I say, being a Calgary sports fan, our team's looking good right now. I don't have any, thinking that we're going to do anything major after, Tower Foley and Kelly Yarncrook, that if we were to do anything else, it would require now parting with actual bodies. Like actual bodies from the roster or even Stockton. And I think what we have is the fact that is we have the depth right now that if we were to go on a run to the finals, that we have enough players that could fill in for a game here and there depending on how things go. As if you remember the 2004 Stanley Cup playoff run, the Calgary Flames during much of that time, they were down 2 regular defensemen or 3 regular defensemen and a whole line. Because I remember guys like Steven Reinbrecht, Matthew Barty. I know Matthew Barty definitely, he got rocked by Darren Hatcher in the Detroit series, and Chris Simon was injured for much of the playoffs, and then that's how we got the double doors. Steve Monador, well, God bless his souls, he actually passed away, and Mike Commodore became a cult hero, and even Brendan Evans, he played like 40 seconds in his shift, so you never know. But I think we have the depth in terms of forwards and the defensemen as well. Also depends on, how long run the Stockton Heat go on as well. And just hopefully we don't get any more injuries, which we've been fortunate in that. The only big injuries I say the Calgary Flames have had this season has been, Tyler Pitlick struggled with injuries, and now he got traded to the Montreal Canadiens, and I guess I didn't realize at the time when I made my chart to fully trade video that apparently he is cousins with Rem Pitlick, who is with the Montreal Canadiens, and then Brett Ritchie also had an injury, and he's just an extra forward that we have that can bring some grit. And then the team got sick with COVID, which, looking back, I mean, as grim that looked at the time, it was probably best case scenario that the whole team got sick at the same time and shut things down instead of having 3 players get sick and then 4 get better and 4 more get sick and then having a short lineup. So that's basically been the only injuries the Calgary Flames have had all season. Let's see, we're an hour and a half. I've been on here for an hour and a half right now. I know it's just trade deadline stuff for my first live stream. And I still see if there's any more questions do I have on the comments. Of course, I appreciate anyone that does come by to consume my content, regardless if it's a live stream or anything else that I post on my YouTube channel. But it is what it is at this stage, that I don't have the huge audience that some people have, but I gotta make the content and try to get people interested in it. I'm gonna say, the hockey guy, I know I definitely always enjoy his content and his insight, and I'll leave the whiteboard thing to him because I don't have the big space to do it. But apparently he is moving again, him and Yvonne, so it'd be great if I ever see him in person. So thanks for inspiring me to be more active on YouTube. And it's like you never know with this YouTube thing that if anyone comes out and make this a career, I mean, it'd be nice if I were to do this as a career, but I enjoy making the content right now, or at least have this as a side hustle. But right now it's still a hobby and don't make anything right now, and I still got a couple more things I want to buy, but too poor. That's always the thing at the end of the day. So now we're 53 minutes out from the deadline, and do we see any more trades? Okay, I guess that did happen on Hockey Buzz, that the Montreal Canadiens and the Colorado Avalanche, they made a trade as the Montreal Canadiens acquired Justin Braun, a defenseman, a 2024 second-round pick, for Terry Lekanen. He is going to the Colorado Avalanche. So sometimes that gossip you do see on Hockey Buzz does happen. So the latest trade, the Montreal Canadiens got Justin Braun, the defenseman, a 2024 second-round pick, for ringer Terry Lekanen going to the Colorado Avalanche. And then another trade just came down the pipe as the St. Louis Blues and the Detroit Red Wings recently made a move as the St. Louis Blues. They acquired defenseman Nick Leddy from the Detroit Red Wings. Going to the Detroit Red Wings' way is defenseman Jake Wallman, Oscar Sundquist, right winger, and a 2023 second-round pick. So definitely is an upgrade on their defense for the St. Louis Blues, as the Detroit Red Wings still pick up some assets at the same time. As Detroit, that's another team that give them a couple of years, maybe as soon as next season, it'll be exciting to watch and see if Steve Yzerman can save the franchise again. Or wouldn't say save the franchise, it was just inevitable that the Detroit Red Wings, after being successful for over 20 years and winning all those cups from the late 90s and in the early 2000s, that eventually the talent was going to move on. And I guess when you have a stud defenseman that wins, 8 Norris trophies? And Nicholas Lidstrom, but that's the couple trades that have come down just after noon Mountain Time. So not too sure how long I'll I'll stream until, I know 1 o'clock Mountain is the deadline, but I'd say as long as you have your proposed trades in the queue before 1 o'clock Mountain, it still counts, and all those trades seem to come in after the fact. So I'm going to still say, when it comes to being a Coyotes sports fan, I'd be surprised if I'm going to be making a video tonight on a trade. Like if we just traded away, our 7th round pick this year for, some depth player that's going to play in Stockton, I might just make a short on that. Because, for example, I made a short just on the Michael McNevin trade when the Calgary Flames acquired goaltender Mike McNevin from the Montreal Canadiens, essentially, and then he got sent to the Stockton Heat. I just made a short on that. And then I touched upon that trade in my Calgary Flames game recap where I talked about the Stockton Heat. So I'm thinking at this stage now, if the Flames make any trades, you'll have to go to my second channel and it'll just be a short talking about the trade. I don't think I'm going to be making a full-length video on it, breaking it down, because I don't think it'd be huge at this stage who he gets, but you still never know. Another thing that is speculative that the Calgary Flames could do, but it's not necessarily today, which would be a nice debate, is do you think the Calgary Flames are going to buy out Sean Monahan's contract, as he still has 1 more year left on his deal, or $6 million? Some are speculating that the Calgary Flames might go that route next year, is buy out the final year of his contract. So the buyout works is it's 2/3 double the term, so he has 1 more year left at $6 million. That, hypothetically, if we were to buy out Sean Monahan's contract, his cap hit of $2 million would be next season and the year after. Then he becomes a free agent. Because right now, I'm going to say Sean Monahan, in some way, has reinvented his game, but you kind of wonder, could have been all those injuries and surgeries that he's had to deal with the last few years. Has that changed Sean Monahan, the player? That's where the debate comes in, is he's definitely not that sniper that he is, and now that he's used in the bottom, 6 with the Calgary Flames this past season, of course he's not going to get his 20 or 30 goals down there. But could that be another factor with Sean Monahan? Do you think he could get bought out, or do you think that his game has changed because of his injuries? I gotta think it's the injuries, I would say. But that is an interesting debate, but I'm not too sure if I would necessarily buy him out. I'd have to be pushed to the corner, but I'd rather not. And I'd actually rather keep him for another year and then try to negotiate a longer-term deal for less to keep more of our core intact, because we still got to make decisions on Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, Oliver Shillington, and Andrew Mangiapane, as you got 2 unrestricted free agents and 2 restricted free agents. Oliver Shillington. So it'll be interesting how Calgary's going to work with the cap after the season, which some way makes it why we should go all in right now and maybe try to do a run. Maybe the other thing that would be positive about going on a nice long run is seeing how much it means to the city, and maybe they can get, the city and the Flames could finally, get together and say, yeah, let's get this arena thing done. We need this arena. We need to revitalize our downtown. Because the other proposals you hear is, do we want to have this arena in Tutina? Which, that is one possibility, because I know that the Hitman, their home away from home, is the 7G Sportsplex, which is out there, but they would need to build the infrastructure to make it work so you can have, thousands of fans to go down there. But I think the arena still has to be, here it is near Stampede Park for the, when it comes to the revised downtown. That's just another tangent right there. Let's see if there's any more trades to talk about. Any new trades now that we're about 45 minutes away from the deadline? There is still no new trades from the Nick Leddy trade and the Arturi Leckland trades. As I said, there's still going to have to be some more to come. How many trades? That brings it up to today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 trades dated on today. So we're definitely still not even halfway to the, I think the record. We had 30 trades on deadline day, but I'm going to say the last couple of years has been slower because of the flat cap and parity in the NHL. Plus, like I say, this year has just been unique that a lot of players that have been speculated have been traded leading up to the deadline, like this past weekend and before this weekend. Let's see what is. Hey, Luke, I'm your father. Yeah, I guess his injuries, surgeries on one hand down. He is important in the locker room and be valuable in the playoffs. Yeah, I know that's when I talked about the fact that it would be next season, looking at the salary cap, if the Calgary Flames were looking at buying him out. I do think he is still valuable. I mean, he does still wear an A, and who knows, he could maybe. That'd be the question for the Flames this year is if we do go on a nice long run, who is going to be Martin Gelinas? Maybe he could be that Martin Gelinas that, the eliminator that scores that big goal. That is the series clincher. And the interesting thing in Martin Gelinas is that that wasn't the first time he did score goals in overtime and series winners. Before he came to the Calgary Flames, not mean to bring up bad news or bad memories for Toronto Maple Leaf fans, but last time the Maple Leafs went to the conference championship in 2002, Martin Gelinas actually scored the overtime winner. I believe it was Game 6. Yeah, it was Game 6 when Carolina made that, at that time, a Cinderella run to the Stanley Cup final, and then they got shown the door by the Detroit Red Wings in the Cup final. But, yeah, Martin Gelinas, I did remember, scored the overtime winner in that series winner then. So, but, yeah, I'm going to say it would be next season, but my idea would be with Sean Monahan is I would hopefully make the cap work next season and then try to sign a longer-term deal. Keep in mind that his game probably has changed because you got to think he had these, rib surgeries, wrist surgeries, that he's not the same player anymore, but he's still a useful player. And, maybe it's kind of that same theory with Olli Jokinen when we brought him in. It still looked funny at the time. Well, I mean, yeah, we brought him at the deadline, and he was making almost $6 million, and then we traded him away, and then free agent frenzy, then we brought him back, but then signed him for half the price. And looking back when Olli Jokinen was here, he was better with his role the second time here, but just didn't make sense to make the big trade to get rid of him, just to bring him back. But that'd be kind of the only other analogy, but except keep Monahan. I do think he's still useful. It's just that it's the prices that definitely isn't looking good right now, but he's still a fairly young player. And, I say you never know. Sometimes when a player goes somewhere else, they tear it up. But, yeah, hopefully Sean Monahan can be that big plugger for the Flames in the playoffs down the road. But you have to think it is his injuries. What do you see here? Yeah, as I say, yeah, Luke, hip surgery, and he was never the same speed burner again, yeah. When you hear how painful hip surgeries are for, the everyday person, I can only imagine how painful a hip surgery is for a professional athlete, even especially in the game of hockey or anything in general. But that's one thing I have to say is the case of Sean Monahan is his injuries. I have to get up and stretch here. Ooh, speaking of hip surgery, I had to get up and stretch so that I was feeling it in my legs there. There we go. Don't have the best of furniture equipment either, but that's why I'm one of those people I'd rather work in the office and work at home all the time. Is because I don't have the furniture, and you're still working at home. But yeah,
I just want anyone to be a Calgary Flame that scores the game winner for the Stanley Cup. But yeah, I mean, I do think I still think this team has what it takes to do something special. But forgive me for being tentative and skeptical because I've seen good teams in the '90s before. Well, leading up to 1994, where we had good teams and they get heartbroken in the first round, and then we're still got 2019. That's the demon that still needs to be crushed. What the Calgary Flames is the fact that we need to crush the demons from even 2020, but it was a different scenario with the bubble where, yeah, Calgary had a 12 seconds away. I think we were 12 seconds away from going up 3-1 against the Dallas Stars, and that was a game that Cam Talbot stole for Calgary at that time, and then eventually lost it. Let's see. Daryl Sutter's practices can't be fun for recovery from surgery. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, if that's another factor, but you hear, Daryl Sutter when he's, you hear that he has quicker, fast-paced practices, but I'm not too sure if that'd be a factor with Sean Monahan, regardless who's the coach of the team or not. But I said earlier in the stream that a couple of defensemen have definitely flourished. Under Daryl Sutter this season is Chris Tanev and Eric Branson. And then there's one creator that Lego Rocks 99. I think he is a Canuck fan. He made a video recently that he ranted about how Eric Branson and Chris Tanev. And the one I did like the Chris Tanev signing when we signed him in the offseason in 2020 that he is that great defenseman, but then the knock on him was the fact that he gets hurt a lot, and the fact that every game since being a Calgary Flame, he's played in every game. So you got to wonder how he's able to stay healthy. And then same with Eric Branson, like they both have flourished in Calgary. That they definitely didn't in Vancouver, but I think the starter factor is away. Dark Striker is a wild card. No team wants to face. Yep, that's another thing with the Flames right now is I think we're more talented than we were in 2004, and that's how we were able to, get to the finals. I mean, the Vancouver series was definitely emotional in 2004. A couple factors that definitely helped the Calgary Flames was, well, we had Kipper, and Dan Cloutier got hurt, and the Cup fans weren't sold on Dan Cloutier as a goalie. But then I remember a couple forwards, and at the time, Marcus Naslund and Trevor Linden, they were also dealing with injuries that they were playing through. And of course, the biggest X factor is Todd Bertuzzi. If he didn't go apeshit on Steve Moore there, that was definitely another factor. But we outlasted them, and then that was the Detroit series that we definitely wore down the Detroit Red Wings, like you mentioned with how Sutter outworked them, and same thing with San Jose. And then we definitely hanged with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and of course, we all look at that non-goal, but I think when it comes to this year's team, we're definitely more talented than the 2004 team. We got more scoring depth, and then, once again, we got the stud goaltending and deep defenseman, but it depends on, how injuries work and if we go into any injuries, and our extra forwards and defensemen that we have right now, could that be enough? Because I actually was kind of impressed Michael Stone, how he played a couple weeks ago when Oliver Shillington was hurt. Considering Michael Stone only played 3 or 4 games with the Flames this year, it's like you're just hanging around your practice, and then suddenly it's like you got to play. And then Michael Stone is that perfect defenseman that Calgary can have as an extra defenseman that doesn't take time away from a young guy, or just have a young guy up here only play a couple minutes a game, where he would benefit more playing 20 minutes a game, developing his game with the Stockton Heat or in junior. It depends what level he's at. But yeah, I'm still, like I said, still looking forward to the playoffs, but it depends on how we draw, which is always the big factor. And that's the thing with the Stanley Cup. You only need to beat 4 teams to get there. It's just outlasting them in a 7-game series. But But definitely, I'm going to have to say Daryl Sutter. I mean, I was shocked when we brought him back. Of course, when I made that video, I had to say, well, holy shit, like it happened. I mean, he didn't necessarily leave Calgary on the best of terms when he was general manager, but I'm going to say how he's showing as coach. He's definitely got to be a Hall of Famer. I think Daryl Sutter, regardless, even whatever we do this year, Daryl Sutter has to eventually be in the Hall of Fame for his coaching. He's definitely a Hall of Fame coach. But let's get back on track, see if there's any more trades that came down in the NHL. I know some of my notifications, but there's couple more trades that came down the pipe. Colorado's definitely loaded up. They got a speedster, definitely known from his time from the Edmonton Oilers, but the San Jose Sharks, they get a 2024 fifth-round pick from the Colorado Avalanche, and the Colorado Avalanche get left winger and Andrew Cogliano. So that's another trade that just came in. And then Washington and Arizona connected on a deal where the Washington Capitals acquire Senator Johan Larsson from the Arizona Coyotes, and the Arizona Coyotes get a 2023 third-round pick. And then Arizona also retained 50% of Larsson's salary. And then apparently there were Winnipeg Jets. They're acquiring right winger Zach Sanford from the Ottawa Senators, and at this stage it says TBD. So definitely was a few more trades coming down. So I think I'll be getting a few more trades now that we're 34 minutes away from the trade deadline. Definitely was a lot slower when I started live streaming just after 10:30, thinking there would have been a lot more to talk about. Oh, yeah. Let's see. We're going to catching up here, Luke. There's a wild card. Okay, got that. Or it's Buffalo that it was actually when we lost to Buffalo. Yeah, he was calling out our medical team where he talked about stitching the horse himself in 5 minutes. He said, yeah. That's the one thing I've seen Sutter. I'm not too sure it's just because he's older or more mellow, but he's definitely, I mean, he's always has that dry sense of humor. Sometimes I watch his press conferences and I actually laugh. He makes you think and laugh at the same time. I still say the quote of the year. It's when he talked about cushion. A cushion is a pillow of feathers, and every time you lose, you take a few pillow feathers out, and next thing you know, you don't have a cushion. Because after when we beat the Winnipeg Jets and we won 10 in a row, I think some lady asked about what do you think about this cushion in the standings from that winning streak, and this is true. That's all it is right now. It's a cushion with just a pillow of feathers. I mean, if you need almost 100 points to get in the playoffs, that's almost irrelevant. But it's just how he said it. It's like it's just a pillow with feathers. It's like now because of that, it's like I can't look at pillows and linen as the same anymore. Thanks to Daryl. Let's see more comments. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you said Buffalo, yeah. I did remember when I got plunked here when I was 17 years old. Mind you, it was only 2 stitches. I did remember going to the clinic. I remember hurt like a son of a bitch because this was already numb here, bleeding, putting the freezing in. I think I was in and out in 5 minutes, and this was just me going to a walking clinic, get 2 stitches and antibiotics. So yeah, I don't know how much severity was there with Erica Branson's stitches, but this was just me getting 2 stitches under here. That I was in and out within 5-10 minutes, but most of that time was consultant time and not actually being on the table with the stitches. So yeah, let's see what else. Right now you could say, although looking at the season series, we do have one more game against the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, we did beat them 1-0 in overtime, but that was because Thatcher Demko stood on his head. Then we had that 7-1 loss in Vancouver. That was after we lost or won 10 in a row, but that was a write-off game, but then how we played against Vancouver on Saturday, I think shows where both Calgary and Vancouver are at right now. But as I say, those are the games we've got to take advantage to win. Let's see. That's why I say hopefully that long run, could, I just say right now it's just politics with, the Flames and the city council. And I just don't, regardless where your political stance is right now, I don't think we keep seeming to let more left wing, city council. But I would think that if the Flames do go on a nice long run, although the city seems to still try to be committed to keep things going, maybe it was a negotiating tactic. But when you think about, we were talking about the next project in 2015, that was with the combined new arena and new football stadium in the West Village. And then it wasn't until 2019 that an actual agreement came into place. After the next project came down, the thing came down, and then, of course, I guess you could also say COVID and the changing economics and that. But just think, here we're in 2022, and we're still don't have a hole in the ground, and still concepts out there, and still talking about that. We're hopefully to get this new arena, and as iconic the Saddledome is, it's definitely becoming more archaic of a facility when you look at the luxury boxes and the fact that you see the newer arenas now that, at least at Roughneck games, I sit in the club section, and I'm in row 11, and you're like 2 rows back from, the top of those press boxes. But the one thing the NHL, you could say we have, you're closest to the lower bowl compared to other arenas in the league. But then thing is, when they renovated the dome, we lost some of that seating in the lower bowl. You don't have those big premium seats anymore. But ultimately, it comes down to the roof. But you have to think, if we do go on a nice playoff run, and kind of similar to how the city got together. Obviously 2004 was magical, and we had a small taste of the Red Mile in 2015 after we knocked off Vancouver, and then Anaheim was a bad matchup. But you would have to think that there would be more urgency, both of the city and the Flames. They're just a bad marriage right now with the relationship they have. But maybe if that happens, that would escalate it, and that hopefully they can get together and come up with an agreement, because you've got to think the framework's in great place. And we're only talking about a couple percent that, if that happens, that there'll be more urgency to get done, and that'd be just another year or two out from originally planned when this new arena gets built. And so when it got flooded out. Yeah, well, that was also unique circumstances too. It was just stunning how it got flooded. But they kind of used that as a play as well. But there was talk about I'm trying to think. There was some talk about likely just before 2010, I think, that they were thinking about long-term plan for the not only Stampede Park but the new arena. If you remember when they built the Saddledome and it was opened in 1983, it was 1995 that they renovated the Saddledome to put those luxury boxes in, where, if you remember the original Saddledome, there was over 20,000 fans at capacity, and then when they put in the new luxury boxes, and that reduced the capacity down by 1,000. But they renovated the Saddledome then to try to compete more with what the other arenas had at that time. And that's almost 30 years ago that the Saddledome had a major renovation where they opened up the concourse a little more. Because if you remember, the old concourse was were crammed, and the stairwells were in the concourse. Ben, not too sure how far back, if you remember, if you're around, but that was that the old Saddledome used to have. That, as cramped as it could be now, it was more cramped with the original Saddledome, if you look at the original plans. But yeah, I think the flood just the flood definitely emphasized a lot more about trying to come up with ways to mitigate it around the river. I mean, back when you have a river that flows through the heart of the city that gets fed from the mountains, you have to think that that area is prone to flooding. I don't know. Just put it out there, but like I said, that's a big part of the electricity grid at downtown is underground as well. That's why it was shut down for a couple weeks there. But yeah, it was a scary time when that happened. Let's see. I'm gonna see if there's any more trades because we're down to 25 minutes to go to the. So going back to the Zach Sanford trade that the Winnipeg Jets acquire Zach Sanford from the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa gets a 2022 fifth-round pick, so that completes that trade. But as I said, the biggest trade still is the Marc-Andre Fleury to Minnesota, and everything else seems to have been a few depth players. I mean, I'm going to say the Arturi Leckerlin trade from Montreal to Colorado was also a fairly significant move, but nothing. All the significant moves, I mean, happened, obviously over the weekend and then last week as well. So that's kind of the thing. The deadline this year just hasn't been like nothing happens until the deadline, which it's definitely a different marketplace right now. But still don't think the Flames are going to do anything too dramatic that I'm going to have to make a full-length video on my main channel later today. In some way, I think after this live stream, I'm kind of hoping we don't at the same time, but if we do anything, it's just going to probably be a short video. It's kind of like that Michael McNevin trade from the Montreal Canadiens. And speaking of Michael McNevin, he hasn't dressed with the Stockton Heat yet because I haven't seen any Heat recaps when I do my Stockton Heat quick hits and my Flames recaps. That didn't see him dressed. It's been still Dustin Wolf and Adam Werner. And the thing with Adam Werner is he thought about, because remember at the start of the year we had Dan Vidar, and then we signed Adam Werner to look for that backup position for Jacob Markstrom, and it didn't play out where essentially it's like if he didn't win the job here at Calgary, he'd be the starter in Stockton. Well, Dustin Wolf has definitely been, out of his world, probably going to be the goaltender of the year in the American Hockey League, and actually the Stockton Heat are the first team in the American Hockey League to clinch a playoff spot. And I guess it works out in the American Hockey League with their playoff format. They actually get a first round bye. So it could be interesting to see how things go between if we can get access to those extra players, depending on how long we run both the Flames and Heat go too. Alrighty. Oops. Oh, there we go. Not far enough. Sometimes with this gaming laptop, when you have all one button, you get you mean to press left click when you're still on the right click side, but I just say I'm still, for this being my very, very first live stream, this is definitely still learning, the software that with OBS. Yeah, our system's stocked with goalies. Yeah, well, I just say, because I got Dustin Wolf and Adam Werner. I'm trying to think who else is in the system right now. Yeah, we still got Tyler Parsons, but he was on that injured list at the start of the year. But I'm going to say Calgary. Oh, yeah, then we have that Ilya Snow, the goalie that we drafted this past year or so. And then he's still over in Europe. So, yeah, I think we're pretty good in that right now. But definitely be interested to see if Dustin Wolf continues to progress and be that steal that was rejected. Oh. Do a little stretch here. Well, yeah, Calgary's kind of been a goalie graveyard there for a while. And then, when we had McElhinney and McLennan, McDonald. That kind of started that McBackup meme. Michael McNevin, that's why we acquired him. Resetting here. I just had to do a little stretching. Set here, it's been 2:05. That's how long I've been live streaming for. Let's see. Any more trades? There hasn't been any new trades since the Zach Sanford trade. Like I said, there's been no Jacob Chikrin. Yeah, I still wonder why would Arizona want to trade him, because they still need some, good players to build their system and get to the floor. They can't just rely on everybody's stinky contracts for more draft picks. Eventually, all the draft picks they have, they gotta have players that come out of it. But yeah, definitely you're going to see a lot of Kraken and Coyotes when it comes to drafting in 2022, especially after all the trades that have been made recently. Yeah, there's still no new moves to talk about. We're 19 minutes out from the deadline, and of course you're always going to get those late picks if they come in the queue before 1 o'clock, but I'm almost thinking I'll probably stick around here till about 1:30, and then if anything else pans out, I'll just make a regular video on it. But as I say, this is still my first live stream, and when your primary focus on the live stream is trade deadline and trying to wait for things to happen, definitely hasn't done that. But if I want to do more live streams in the future, I'll definitely thinking my game plan has changed now, where I think on my main channel I might put my primarily sports live streams if I want to do any. Let's say, for example, if I decide to maybe live stream the draft, the NHL draft or CFL draft, or if I don't go to the Grey Cup this year, maybe give my reaction to the Grey Cup as the game goes on. Might do that on my main channel. Then my second channel, where I did say I want to do live streams, that one maybe I could put on there for if I want to do more reaction videos or anything like that. I still need to figure out this OBS on how to have it. Let's say I'm in the corner, and then I have a video, and then of course right now I'm using just my laptop mic and camera. I'm still in the market to buy all that, but I can't just buy everything at the same time, especially in this economy. But I'm glad I finally at least get a live stream on my channel, and thanks for those who have watched. I am what I am, but this is a trade deadline live stream, nothing too exciting, but I guess I'm adding to the overhype in that about this being kind of like Boxing Day or Black Friday. That's, everyone's trying to shop thinking they have it there, but there's only one Stanley Cup at the end of the day, and when you have like 10 or 12 teams that think they're still in it, that's what happens. But sometimes it's just that one piece. And I also do remember a trade deadline in 2009. I remember that was the trade deadline when Calgary finally got Ole Jokinen and got Jordan Leopold back, and all the hockey pundits said, "Oh, that's it. Calgary won the trade deadline. They won. And ultimately, we didn't get out of the first round against Chicago because we had some bad injuries on our defense. But I'm going to say we did at least soften up the Chicago Blackhawks a year before they started their dynasty. But you can't necessarily pick winners or losers when it comes to trade deadline right now, especially when you have trades that involve players getting a bunch of draft picks. I mean, you never know. You might get that fourth line plugger that's ultimately plays big for your team that goes somewhere. I mean, when it comes to looking at the trades that we made, like the Tyler Toffoli trade, yes, we won that right now, getting Tyler Toffoli, but we need to know how those picks pan out, what they get used for, if either the Montreal Canadiens use those picks or use that for future currency for future moves. And same with the Callie Yarncrook trade. I mean, he's only played 2 games with the Calgary Flames, but he got robbed by Dustin Tokarski in his debut. And actually, that was that clip that I used in the thumbnail, because I tried to make the thumbnail where I had the old Tyler Toffoli and the new Tyler Toffoli and the old Callie Yarncrook and the new Callie Yarncrook, and it's very limited when he's only played 2 games for Callie Yarncrook in the Flames colors to get a picture. But apparently, he's already when you already have a dream of playing with your cousin and your best friend growing up, and all in that small town in Sweden. But going back to those 3 draft picks that Seattle got, I mean, until we know what those picks get used for, I mean, we don't know who won that trade, but all trade deadline does right now is you try to complement your roster. I mean, all general managers say that, the 3 pieces to build your team is you got the draft, which that's still your foundation. You got to build to the draft, pick your own assets, and then the other is free agent frenzy, which is try to fill some holes that your team needs, and then trade deadline is to either fill holes right now or in the future, or thinking that this season didn't go as well, so we got to try to maximize assets or try to build and go on a run. I mean, the one team that you would think maybe they should sell and haven't sold as much as the New York Islanders, but I think this year is almost kind of a one-off for the New York Islanders just because of how the schedule is. I thought they would do better considering that they went to the conference championship the last 3 years, but I know they had a brutal start to their season when it came to getting the UBS Center built, and I think they had a 13-game road trip and just never recovered from that. But that's one team that will be looking to get back at it next year. But obviously, Arizona and Seattle have definitely been selling. You definitely see, Ottawa definitely did some selling. I would say, trying to think, San Jose picked up a few picks as well, but a lot of the buyers definitely, you can say the biggest, heaviest buyer is definitely the Florida Panthers. Be interested to see how things work out in Florida, because that's one team actually, Brad Richardson, he was put on waivers by the Calgary Flames yesterday. He is actually going back to Vancouver. Yeah, he did play for Vancouver. So actually, Brad Richardson, he is going to the Vancouver Canucks after we put him on waivers yesterday. So could that suddenly, make the Flames pick up a player now that we lost Brad? He hasn't played much with the Flames this season. And then apparently the Montreal Canadiens, they made a trade, or they traded goaltender Andrew Hammond that they recently acquired from the Minnesota Wild. Well, he is going to the New Jersey Devils. In exchange, the Montreal Canadiens get Nate Schnarr. So that's Nate Schnarr. That's not a French name, but that's that trade right there. So that's just a couple news that's just gone down, that Brad Richardson now is going back to Vancouver from the waiver claim that the Calgary Flames put him on waivers yesterday. And then Andrew Hammond, he wasn't a Montreal Canadian for long, as he is going to the Jersey Devils, the Hamburglar, they call them, for Nate Schnarr. So that's the latest transactions that we'll talk about right now. But I think Brad Richardson being claimed on waivers by the Vancouver Canucks, that's a short video. I'm not going to make won't be making a full-length video talking about that on this channel. So I guess I'll watch for my short talking about that Brad Richardson is going to the Vancouver Canucks. from waivers. And it's not the same Brad Richardson that I went to high school with, because I actually did go to high school with a guy named Brad Richardson, but it's not the same Brad Richardson. I remember when I have seen him on the street here and there, I was like, do you know there's a Brad Richardson that played the NHL? So, but it's not the same guy. I think, the one that I went to high school with is definitely older than the Brad Richardson that's going to Vancouver. So that's one thing. I guess I'll put that on there. Let's put this comment on there that Brad Richardson put on waivers and has by the there we go. I'll put that comment in there that Brad Richardson is going to Vancouver from waivers. But as I say, he was a depth signing at the time. Yeah, I think he signed the same time that Eric Branson did, and I think that was just around Labor Day or after Labor Day, if I remember, because I remember making that video. I think shortly after the Labor Day rematch trip that I made, and I did a little catch up, and I'm going to say one definitely has worked out. And Eric Branson, I think I did say, and I believe another hockey YouTuber I watch here and there is Hot Take Hockey. He definitely thought it was an overpayment that we made for Eric Branson. And there was a player that we signed, just before training camp, like after Labor Day. Yeah, I think, Brad Richardson was him and Eric Branson, but that's not a big loss for the Calgary Flames in terms of that. I mean, we still got Adam. Maybe with that now, that'll open up more room for Adam Ruzicka to be here full time, because he's definitely been a great bottom six forward for the Calgary Flames. That he did start off well with the Stockton Heat, and actually the last game that the Stockton Heat played, we destroyed the Colorado Eagles, who are the farm team for the Colorado Avalanche. We beat them 10-3, and I saw Adam Ruzicka picked up a couple assists there. So I'm going to say this should open up the door for Adam Ruzicka to be here, and I'll also say you're here the rest of the year, Adam, unless we do anything else. But that's all I got to feel about the Brad Richardson being put on waivers. That I didn't think anything would have happened. But I guess noon is the time that let's say 10 o'clock or noon. I think it is. Yeah, probably is noon Eastern. That you put someone on waivers, you have 24 hours for anyone to claim him, and I think it goes by reverse by the standings. That whoever's last place gets first dibs, and then if anyone or if a couple players put dibs on him, it's whoever was lower in the standings that gets him. So, but yeah, that's the only big thing for Calgary Flames wise so far is Brad Richardson going to the Vancouver Canucks from waivers, which that should open up a few more cap dollars for the Calgary Flames for the rest of the season. But I just think that should make the opportunity bigger for Adam Ruzicka. I mean, Brett Ritchie, I'm going to say he's still more of that plugger that we can put in if we want to add a little more sandpaper. And I'm going to say there's another player that you're not too sure if you could say has fallen out of favor or just given the crunch and how deep we are when it comes to forwards is Dylan Dubé. I mean, he's still young. I mean, he did sign that 3-year deal that pays him over $3 million a year. I mean, it's too early to give up on him as well, but it seems like he's kind of struggled a little bit this season, but that could be another player that, could rise in the playoffs and raise a stock, that maybe he'd be that one player that can coast through the regular season and turn it on in the playoffs. I mean, it was a couple years ago when he was trying to think what year it was. It would have to be 18, I think it was. The 2018 World Junior Championship that he was captain for Team Canada, and he had won a great tournament, and at the time he was the only Calgary Flame prospect that stood out for the Team Canada. And speaking of the World Juniors, apparently it is going to get back on in August in Edmonton. Unfortunately, it got canceled. I guess Belarus and Russia won't be a part of it for obvious reasons. And I do stand with Ukraine, especially the fact that I do have roots in Ukraine, bloodlines. But it would definitely be nice to see that World Junior tournament will still go on. It'd be interesting to see how it would go in terms of players that either are still playing or feel like playing. But I know that it would be nice to see that go back on in August. I know that Matthew Coronado, I think, only played one game with the Americans before that tournament. He suddenly got canceled, and I think he had an assist, and I think there were a couple other Flames that were in that tournament, none for Team Canada, but that's another thing we can mention, that the World Juniors apparently will get restarted in August just to crown a champion. But yeah, it was just definitely sudden, like what they did. But at least the kids will get their experience somehow. And I guess the other interesting thing would be after the draft too. But it's more just to finish what was started. And who knows? Maybe I could sneak a trick up to Edmonton to catch some summer hockey and go Canada. I always gotta say. Let's see if there's any more comments. Because now we're getting into the final stretch. This is where eventually the sweat starts coming out, and eventually someone gets to tell them pencils down like the exam. And there's another trade to talk about. Is the Anthony Beto is going to the New York Rangers from the San Jose Sharks for TBA. I guess that trade's probably still getting finalized, but that's one trade that came in. Yeah, it's defenseman Anthony Beto going to the San Jose Sharks, New York Rangers TBA. So I think they must have messed it up in the app there. Now I thought I saw Kopp got traded. Now I'm not too sure if it's just now or earlier today, because I did see a notification that came up from the Score that said that apparently the Rangers acquired Andrew Kopp, which is from the Winnipeg Jets. Let's see. I think that's what I saw. So don't take my word for it. They still got the TBA for who the New York Rangers got for Anthony Beto and the San Jose Sharks. So I say Kopp. Let's check the Score. Let's check the Score trade tracker. Yeah, let's see. Anything new here? This probably must have just happened. That's the thing. Everything gets landed instantly. That whoever does the app, they're definitely busy plugging away, getting all the details in, put as fast as possible. So media gets do their thing. Of course, I think it was the Score that kind of started the big back in the day, where give a couple minutes here for the app to update on what those couple more trades are. But it's always you're here first, and then even before where you have more instant access to. I remember back in the day, or trade deadlines. I guess now we're talking about like 15 years ago, when they have a headline say, "This player has been traded. He is going to this team. We don't know yet. For what?" It's just always trying to get the thing in first. I mean, yeah, sometimes it is nice to get that video made as soon as possible. Like, for example, the Tyler Toffoli trade. It was Monday when I was at work when that trade happened. I was able to make that video after work Monday. Excuse me. However, the Kelly Yoncourt trade, I wasn't able to make that trade video on Friday because it was well into Wednesday evening, which I was about to turn in for the night because I get up early for work. So I was able to make a short talking about the trade on the Wednesday night, and then Thursday work, and then there was the Roughnecks game Thursday night. So that's why I wasn't able to make the Kelly Yoncourt trade right away too. So I mean, yeah, it's sometimes nice to get that, and sometimes we get those. I think it all levels out because if you make a video talking about a trade, you get the views right away, but then no one cares about it 6 months later. It's like my Jack Eichel trade video, where it got my views right away. So yeah, there's going to be suddenly more trades are coming on. So the still TBA for Anthony Bietto. Oh, you hear the clock chiming? 1 o'clock. Pencils down. But still TBA, but then the Vancouver Canucks, they traded for left winger Tyler Mott to the New York Rangers. The Vancouver Canucks get a 2023 fourth round pick. So that trade just came down. I guess they got to make room for Brad Richardson now that they had to make that trade, right? Or maybe that was already in the works. So that is the one trade to talk about. Still TBA on the. Like I said, I thought I saw Rangers got Andrew Kopp, but I just want to see it was done earlier today. Because I know Andrew Kopp is one of those players that one of those grinders for the Winnipeg Jets. Or yeah, it was me. I was gonna say, yeah, Winnipeg got Mason Appleton back because I remember that I heard there was a debate about who was going to be picked by the Seattle Kraken by the Winnipeg Jets. Was Andrew Kopp or Mason Appleton? But it's after 1 o'clock. But I think there are going to be a few more trades. I'll try to stay on until about 1:30 Mountain Time to see if there's any more trades that we'll talk about. But I don't think there'll be any more major moves. I still say the biggest trade for today is the Marc-Andre Fleury going from Chicago to Minnesota for a conditional second-round pick. That pick will now be a first-round pick if the Minnesota Wild do indeed get to the conference championship to take on the Calgary Flames. They had their dream. If they can upset the Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues, then they'll get a first-round pick, Chicago. And then for Calgary Flames news, Brad Richardson was put on waivers yesterday, and the Vancouver Canucks did claim him. So Brad Richardson is going back to Vancouver. That's the only Calgary Flames news when it comes to today. So I will just quickly make a short talking about that. Put it on my Brett Harvey Shorts channel because that's not a big enough video for me to big enough a news story for me to make a 5-10 minute video on it. Excuse me. Because he was just a depth forward for much of the season. Or yeah, I guess another depth player that I keep talking about, although he's played almost every game, is Trevor Lewis. But I'm going to say it's definitely been a slower live stream than I thought when it comes to maybe people being interested in watching, or also the fact that for stuff to actually talk about. I mean, I'm definitely still glad I got it done. It just happened to be I took today off from work because I was busy here this past weekend, and I was, hey, it's trade deadline day. Maybe I'll do that. Let's just do a refresh, see if there's any more news on the trades. Nope, nothing new from trades the last couple of minutes with the couple New York Rangers transactions. Let's check to see if I know it's all competing networks anyway. Let's see if Sportsnet has any transaction. Let's see. Okay, yes. Andrew Kopp is going to the New York Rangers. I'm checking out Sportsnet. TBD still for Vancouver. Winnipeg. So Andrew Kopp is going to the New York Rangers for TBD. So the New York Rangers they're loading up as well on the playoff run as well. As that's one team definitely thought they would be not this good right away, but Igor Shesterkin definitely is the reason that he probably will be in the favorite to get the Vezina trophy. I'm going to say Jacob Markstrom definitely is going to be on the ballot, but probably maybe still win it. You never know. But I think the New York Rangers look like they're just loading up right here, picking up a depth forward from the Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to go get up and stretch here again. So we're now 5 minutes past the deadline, but if there's any more trades in the queue. Still got a couple TBAs for Anthony Bietto for the New York Rangers, what they got, and what the New York Rangers gave up for Andrew Kopp going to the Winnipeg Jets. But I'm also going to take a pit stop while I'm up, so give me a couple minutes, so I'll be right back, and I'll get some more news. I'm back. Just had to take a little pit stop. See if I've got any more updates on recent trades. Still more updates. Oh, I'm gonna say gonna be sticking around here. Maybe a little past 1:30 actually than originally planned. Just because of trades that are starting to come in now. As did see one trade that the Oilers acquired. It said Braun from Philadelphia. So let's see. I'm going to go on Sportsnet see if there's any updates on new trades. So still don't know what the New York Rangers gave up for Andrew Kopp. Tyler Mott, got that already for New York Rangers. 4th round pick in 2023 going to the Vancouver Canucks. So that's the Sportsnet app. Now it's all competing right now. Let's take a look at the score while I'm here. See if there's any trade tracker talking about when it comes to the NHL. Let's see. Still know what Winnipeg gets for Andrew Kopp going to the New York Rangers. But the trade for the New York Rangers and the San Jose Sharks is the New York Rangers get forward Nick Barkley from the San Jose Sharks for Anthony Bietto, but that's basically to AHL teams making the trade. Let's see. I thought I saw there was the Oilers make a trade with the Philadelphia Flyers. They must still be working on. As it was TSN that brought that notification up, so yeah, I probably might stick around for another hour, but actually the Anaheim Ducks, they did some more selling as they traded away right winger Carter Kell. He is going from the Anaheim Ducks to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it says the Anaheim Ducks receive a prospect and a draft pick. So the Carter Kell, one of the players that was on the trade bait board, is going to Pittsburgh. So there's that as well. So yeah, I think we're going to be doing some more craziness now that now here they did show up that the Edmonton Oilers acquired center Derek Brassard from the Philadelphia Flyers, and it says TBA. So we'll see what the Edmonton Oilers gave up to get Derek Brassard, but no news for the Calgary Flames in terms of trade. The only Calgary Flames news is the fact that Brad Richardson, that we placed on the waivers yesterday, got claimed by the Vancouver Canucks. So that's the only player that is leaving the Calgary Flames today, but not for a trade. So, yeah, we're 11 minutes past the NHL trade deadline, so there probably is going to be a few more picks or trades to come in. Maybe I'll stick around until 2 o'clock to try to capture everything and give my initial reaction, but I'm going to say since I've been on here, nothing has rocked my socks off, so apologize for not showing as much enthusiasm, but there hasn't been anything that knocked my socks off yet. That's just basically all been depth moves. I think I mentioned that when Winnipeg acquired Zach Sanford from the Ottawa Senators, Ottawa gets a 2022 fifth-round pick. Yeah, I think I mentioned that already. So the biggest trade today has been the Marc-Andre Fleury trade from Chicago to Minnesota. I'm just seeing if there's any more. And there was also other words about Chicago. I think I mentioned much earlier in the stream when they traded away Marc-Andre Fleury that there's some talk that Chicago has come to the realization that they need to go through kind of a nuclear rebuild, and the fact you got Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, as strange as it would look to see him not wearing Chicago Blackhawks gear, you hear that they're possibly might get traded, but might be the off season. I know that there was rumors that the New York Rangers were looking to get Patrick Kane, and that the Chicago Blackhawks might be willing to retain half his salary, but that sounds like something that you would hear more in the summer than today, but you never know. But it's just a matter, I think both Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews, they've earned the right to be in that decision. Do they want to be a part of a rebuild, even though they could probably potentially still go somewhere else and try to get one more cup for their Hall of Fame careers, but that's basically up to them. That's the other rumors that I've also heard possibly about the Chicago Blackhawks. So I still haven't got any word on who's going Philadelphia's way for Derek Brassard or who that pick and prospect is yet for the Rickard Rakell trade for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Anaheim Ducks. But let's count the trades that we have today so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I actually got 20 trades today that have come down, and there could still be a few more trades to come. Like I say, none involving the Calgary Flames, but I didn't think we'd be doing anything too major right now that would warrant the Calgary Flames to make any more moves, but we'll see how things go in between at the meantime. But I am still thinking that we are probably done at this stage, but you just never know. It wouldn't be anything huge at this stage now, but I do remember a few years ago when the Ryan Smith up in Edmonton, when he got traded from the Edmonton Oilers to the New York Islanders, that trade actually happened after the deadline. Ooh, here's one significant trade. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they did actually trade Max Domi. He is going to the Carolina Hurricanes. It says TBA on who's going to Columbus right now, but Max Domi apparently is going to the Columbus Blue Jackets, another player that was ranked highly on the TSN trade bait board, but you just got to wonder what Max Domi is. He's bounced around. I mean, remember, he was a high pick prospect. And then the Carolina Hurricanes, they also signed Jesperi Kotkaniemi, the player that they offer sheet from the Montreal Canadiens. He did sign an 8-year extension worth $4.82 million. So that's what the Carolina Hurricanes, they're liking former Montreal Canadiens. But then there was that Sebastian Aho, where Montreal started that, where they offer sheeted Sebastian Aho, and Carolina said, no, we're keeping Aho. So there's that rivalry between Carolina and Montreal now, but so Carolina's recently made some news as they were soon Jesperi Kotkaniemi and got Max Domi. Still have not seen any new updates for who's filling out the rest of those trades. Let's see if Sportsnet has any updates. Let's see what the Sportsnet have. Yeah, they still got Tyler Cobb TBD. Let's take a look at. Yeah, I'm gonna stay at about 2 o'clock now. I think at this stage, given the moves that have suddenly have come down, as they were last second moves here. And maybe fill out some of these other trades that still need to figure who they are. Let's see what the score has. And they still got TBA for, well, it's going to Columbus for Max Domi. They still got TBA for what the Ducks get for Carter Kell. Apparently, the Philadelphia Flyers get a 4th round pick for Derek Brassard, so that's all that the Oilers gave up. Don't see a year yet, and still don't see what the Jets receive for Andrew Kopp going to the New York Rangers. So it's a race to see who fills out all the details first at this stage. And then let's see if there's any more new trades. We are still seeing TBAs, a lot of TBAs here. So we'll go on to other business on the phone right now since you get other notifications that come up. Let's see if there's any more questions or comments on the way. Nope. I still appreciate those that have been watching and follow along. I just got to get something done here for a quick sec. As I've been streaming for 2:45. That's quite a bit, but the live stream's a couple hours out of the way. Let's see if there's any more updates to these trades. And it's funny how one source doesn't have that TSN doesn't have the Andrew Kopp trade in, yet the others do. So I know everything is still in flux. Actually, let's check the NHL app. Let's see if there's any trade tracker. No, there's nothing, they're still updating that as well. Just bear with me. And now we're in the mad dash to get all the other trades in right now. And I haven't seen any new trades that has come in. Nope, still waiting to see what year that 4th-round pick is going to Philadelphia for Derek Brassard. Still need to see what Columbus gets for Max Domi and what Anaheim gets for Carter Kell, and what the Jets get for Andrew Kopp. And it's Kopp with 2 P's, if that matters. Not police cop, but copper as in 2 P's with the copper as in the metal copper. They go, wait a couple minutes here, fill some more airtime, because I think there's a couple more trades that we're still figuring out who's filling out those trades. And if there's by any chance there's any new trades that come down, because I think I'll stick around until at least 2 o'clock now, in case if there's any more trades that come down to the pipe. But yeah, definitely thanks for everyone who's watched up to this point. I mean, this is just one of my first live stream ever, and I'll definitely do more of them in the future, but it's just that this one's been more of a react to the trade deadline as opposed to having like videos or pictures or some other live streams that you might enjoy watching others. I mean, of course, I always appreciate everyone who watches my content anyway, but let's see if there's any more. Ooh, actually, the Calgary Flames did make a trade. As saw a notification that said the Calgary Flames acquired forward Ryan Carpenter from the Chicago Blackhawks. So the Flames did actually make a move today. Maybe they replaced Brad Richardson, but we'll find out what is going to be in for that. But who did we get for Ryan Carpenter? As don't know much about Ryan Carpenter, but the Flames did indeed make a trade. Big enough for me to make a video on it? Let's see. Like an actual video, full-length video on it. Let's find out. Because then I could squeeze in the Brad Richardson waiver claim. Let's see. Yeah, there's still no... Okay, the Calgary Flames acquired forward Ryan Carpenter from the Chicago Blackhawks. In exchange, the Calgary Flames gave up a 5th-round pick in 2024. So Ryan Carpenter, forward, coming here to Calgary for Ryan Carpenter going to Chicago as a 5th-round pick in 2024. So basically, it's just another pick that we're sacrificing in the future. So now that I'll have something to chew on in the meantime, let's take a look at Ryan Carpenter, shall we? As I'll go to Cap Friendly, which is the go-to site for Cap Friendly. So the Calgary Flames, Ryan Carpenter. Is he still on the Chicago Blackhawks at this stage? Yeah, he's a unrestricted free agent. He's 31 years old. He'll be a UFA after this season. He's a center right wing with $1 million cap hit. He's actually from Orlando, Florida. He was born January 18th, 1991, and he was an undrafted free agent. So this season, Ryan Carpenter with the Chicago Blackhawks in 59 games. He has 3 goals, 8 assists for 11 points. He's a minus 10 overall, 36 penalty minutes. He's played exactly 300 games in the National Hockey League. He has scored 26 goals, 42 assists for 60 points, minus 806 penalty minutes. And he's played in 26 Stanley Cup playoff games, collecting 6 assists, 1 point, 1 plus minus, and 6 penalty minutes. He was on the Vegas Golden Knights team that went to the finals so he went to the finals with the Vegas Golden Knights in 2018, and then he was in the bubble playoffs for the Chicago Blackhawks in 2020 when he played 9 games. So yeah, I guess now that I mentioned the Vegas Golden Knights, yeah, I do remember Ryan Carpenter because he did play for the San Jose Sharks starting in 2015 and 16. And then he went to the Vegas Golden Knights in 2017-18. And then he went to the Chicago Blackhawks for 2020, excuse me. So yeah, that's who we acquired for a 5th round pick in 2024. So a depth forward that doesn't hurt by the fact that we lost Brad Richardson to waivers. So yeah, it's not a big enough trade for me to. I'm going to make a short on that. It's not going to be not a big enough trade for me to make a full length video on and break it down. So I got this live stream anyway. So yeah, welcome to the Sea of Red, Ryan Carpenter. As we're still figuring out who got all the other trades that we still see TBA on, like the Max Domi trade. So I'll add the comment here that Calgary Flames this is in 2024. So I'll put that in the comment. So we lost Brad Richardson to waivers to the Vancouver Canucks, but we acquired forward Ryan Carpenter from the Chicago Blackhawks for a 2024 5th round pick. So already we got 2 picks traded in 2024, our 5th and 7th round pick. Our 5th round pick will be going to Chicago in this trade we just made, and the 7th round pick will be going to Seattle when we got the Kelly Uncork. But just a depth forward, I'm going to say it's a lateral move. Actually, the Dallas Stars acquired Vladislav Nemeskov from Detroit for a 4th round pick. So trades start coming in. So yeah, I'll stick around till 2 o'clock. I'm going to say before wrapping up the stream and I'll make that short about what the Calgary Flames did at the deadline, unless they do something else. But I'm not going to make a full-length video on the Ryan Carpenter trade because he's just a depth forward that now that I saw the Vegas Golden Knights with his numbers, I do remember Carpenter being on the Vegas Golden Knights that year when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals in their expansion year. See if there's any more comments. I don't see any. But nothing. Still not the biggest move that we made for a deadline, but I didn't expect Calgary to do too much anyway. It's funny that they were saying Calgary was looking for help on the blue line, and so far it's been 3 forwards that we picked up, Tyler Toffoli and Kelly Yarncork for the impact forwards, and then Ryan Carpenter being a depth forward. But I'm going to say maybe he can replace Brad Richardson that we lost to waivers. But I'm going to say it's a lateral move at this stage. But at least we got a forward that has been in the Stanley Cup playoffs and gone all the way. I mean, yeah, we do sometimes value experience. That's nice to have, but the other hand, sometimes it's just as good to have youth in your lineup who's never been there where they don't quite feel that pressure yet either. So I think once the youth gets in the playoffs, it's almost irrelevant. I think they mentioned that about the Maple Leafs. I think it was what I think it was 2017 when they draw the Washington Capitals, and then they said that was a mismatch and should have been an easy matchup for the Washington Capitals, and the Toronto Maple Leafs did provide some pushback to the Washington Capitals that year, and then they're saying that youth and inexperience was almost irrelevant once it got into Game 2 of the still like a playoffs. You can probably say that same thing about the Calgary Flames in 2004. That I heard that when we lost that Game 1 against Vancouver, all Darryl said to the team was, "Well, that's playoff hockey." Like, he used that to speak itself, and obviously things got better from there. So let's see if we got any more updates on the couple trades that have just come down. I have not seen any updates in terms of still haven't seen any updates on let's go back to the excuse me, the score here. Haven't got any updates yet on what Max Domi or Ricardo Kell. As mentioned, the Dallas Stars, they received forward Vladislav Nemeskov from the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit gets a 2024 fourth-round pick. And then they say they still have a fourth-round pick for Edmonton and Derek Brassard from Philadelphia, but doesn't say what year. And then I still don't see what the Rangers got or gave up for Andrew Kopp. And this is on the score, so yeah, I'll still stick around till 2 here. They say, because I thought I originally said 1:30, but now we're past 1:30. I think I'll stick around till 2 before I wrap it up, and thinking nothing more major will happen between now and then, and at least I'll make a short talking about the losing Brad Richardson to waivers and picking up Ryan Carpenter, as it's not big enough to make a full video on, and then I'll peep about it when it comes to the next Calgary Flames game recap video that I'll do once that time is up. Oh, it's been on for 3 hours. Wow. It's quite impressive for 3 hours, but I probably, looking at the trade deadline, I probably shouldn't have gone on until 11 o'clock. I think it might have been more exciting, but this is just a trade deadline live stream, and it's just me. I don't have a big production crew behind me to bring bells and whistles or anything that make it exciting that when a trade comes down. I mean, this is what it is. But I'm going to say there was more Calgary Flames news than I thought coming in today. So let's see. TSN now has the Vladislav Nemeskov trade, but still have some blanks in some of the other trades about what Max Domi traded, or same with Ricardo Kell. It just still says prospect and player for Ricardo Kell. That could almost be almost anything. I already got the mentioned that Jesperi Kotkaniemi signed an 8-year extension with the Carolina Hurricanes today. And that was like a 4.8 or 9 million per season. Well, yeah, now TSN got the Ryan Carpenter trade in for the TBA, but we know it's a fifth round pick in 2024. Excuse me. I just want to get a stretch in. 2024 fifth round pick. Let's see if there's anything else on here. Well, we have a little more information on the Rickard Rakell trade, but still some blanks, as Rickard Rakell mentioned going to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Anaheim says prospect, a 2022 second round pick, and a roster player. So looks like there's at least 3 pieces going to that trade. So I could probably say that could be the second biggest trade for the trade deadline, behind the Fleury trade from Chicago to Minnesota. Now just seeing if there's anything. We're still waiting to hear who the Jets get for sending Andrew Kopp to the New York Rangers, and what the Carolina Hurricanes are saying to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Max Domi. But yeah, we're almost 35 minutes past the deadline, and still getting some trades coming in. Yeah. After you've been streaming for almost 3 hours, you gotta take a few stretches, right? So, and I don't have the best furniture for it, and everything with potentially with other live streams I could do in the future is my laptop. I could take it to different parts of the apartment, but I have sat behind. The difference is if I was working at home, I'd definitely be in and out a few times, but that won't work with a live stream. It's like they know they're going to trade it. This is me being hypothetical, but I'm happily single right now, but I'm thinking if I was a professional athlete, I would probably want to stay single until I retire. Or not, be married and have kids until I retire. Because you just don't know suddenly, yes, you get made millions of dollars and all that, but then it's like, what do you think it'd be like if you have, a wife and kids, and then suddenly it's like, I got traded. I got to go to Boston right now. Or I got to go across North America right now. I mean, you got to wonder how that's like, especially if you have like a pregnant mother or young kids in school. At the same time, you could also live somewhere, in the season anyway, and then in the off season, but there's a lot of things that's all behind the scenes, I should say, but I would think it would be easier if I was single than wait until if I was a professional athlete. But let's say that ship has sailed. I turned 40 in June, so I don't think I'm going to be a professional athlete. Heck, it would still be nice if I could be a professional bowler. Like I mentioned that one of my tweets, if I had a choice to either be in the PBA or the PGA, I'd rather be in the PBA. I'd rather be a professional bowler than a professional golfer. That's my game. But still waiting for any new trades or any new information on said trades, as we're still waiting for the Domi return, the Raquel turn. That's pretty much it. Still waiting for those returns. But the Flames, as I mentioned, get Ryan Carpenter from the Chicago Blackhawks for a 2024 fifth-round pick, and we lost Brad Richardson to waivers to the Vancouver Canucks, which I'm going to say that's going to be just a short I'm going to make a video on my second channel, but I'm going to say we just practically stayed the course, which is what I expected Calgary to do anyway. I mean, it's still easier to make, unless if you're really, really all in. And you could say we're partially all in, but not fully all in, where we didn't give up any prospects or anyone off the roster. I mean, yeah, we gave up draft picks, but I think we were in a position to be able to do that. But it'd be still easier. Or the other end of the spectrum is if you were fully out of it. I mean, the only time that I can say the Calgary Flames really said it was time to do a nuclear winter was in 2013 when, we decided it was time to move on from Jerome McGinley and trade away Jay Bouwmeester and weren't able to get Kipper traded, but unfortunately, looking back, that's what definitely sunk Jay Feaster was the fact that was the return that we got for McGinley and Bouwmeester, which definitely wasn't enough. I mean, McGinley was partly because he only wanted to go to Pittsburgh, and apparently that was what happened with the Philadelphia Flyers with Claude Giroux, that he only wanted to go to Florida, which is why apparently, I think it was Colorado and the New York Rangers. Apparently, they offered better packages for Claude Giroux, but then they got turned down because Claude Giroux had a no-movement clause and said, I want to go to Florida. And that was the case with Jerome McGinley when he wanted to go to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and just kind of was stung a bit that the Boston deal was slightly better. And then ultimately he did sign with Boston, but that's the only time when Calgary really did nuclear winter. And I'm going to say in 2015, even though we made the playoffs that year, Calgary actually, I thought we sold at the deadline that year. Remember when we traded Curtis Glencross for a couple of picks, and then we traded away Sven Baertschi? We did pretty well with those picks after all, because remember Rasmus Anderson, that was that pick that we got from the Vancouver Canucks for Sven Baertschi. So we got Rasmus Anderson for Sven Mania. And then when we traded Curtis Glencross to the Washington Capitals, we got, I think it was a second and a third. Ultimately, we used those picks to bundle to get Dougie Hamilton, and also we did some wheeling and dealing at that draft to get Oliver Shillington. So that's the thing when you say with those picks in terms of saying who won the trade. Well, you never know what those picks get used for. If they either get used for a useful impact player or prospects or a currency that you could use later. In 2015, I'm going to say that's Brad Trelivens, since he's been general manager of the Calgary Flames. That was his best deadline and draft, was 2015. When we got Oliver Shillington, we drafted Andrew Mangiapane, and we were able to get Dougie Hamilton in a trade. And then we did very well with Dougie Hamilton when we traded him to Carolina. So that's definitely been his best deadline and draft, I would say, up to this point. I mean, this year, I'm going to say deadline, well, those moves that we made with Sven Baertschi and Curtis Glencross, those are at the deadline. I mean, this deadline, I'm going to say we did pretty well in terms of being a buyer, but we got Tyler Toffoli 5 weeks out, and it's not a rental because he's still signed for 2 more years. And after this season, and this season with getting Kelly Youngkirk last week, I'm going to assume, given that we gave up 3 draft picks, and thinking he'll fit in with the Swedish connections that we already have with the Calgary Flames, that I think we're going to probably sign Kelly Youngkirk to a deal after the season, depending on how things go. But that's what I have when it comes to Trade Center live vlog. Away in the final deals in the queue, yes. So am I. I just want to know what we're getting with these couple other picks that are trades that were made. As we are still waiting for the Domi return. And we're still waiting on the Raquel turn. That's going to TSN. Let's see, the Sportsnet say anything other than let's see, breaking news. Well, they're saying the same thing. A pick, prospect, and a roster player. Yeah, well, that's pretty much the same thing. Let's see what. According to Sportsnet, actually, we know the return for the Max Domi. There's a player named Ian Herchuk, if I said the name right. He is going to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Max Domi. So, according to Sportsnet, to 1-for-1. We're still waiting for the return for Carter Kell. Apparently, it's 3 pieces. We already know it's a second-round pick, and a player, and a prospect. And the 4th-round pick that the Edmonton Oilers give up for Derek Brassard will be in 2023. So that concludes that trade. We're still waiting for the return for Andrew Kopp for the Winnipeg Jets, says they sent him to the New York Rangers. So we still don't know that. And then I say thinking that's still waiting for those other trades. And then I said, then we got the Jesperi Kotkaniemi signing for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So we're still waiting for a few more things to come down the queue, which I want to try to see if I can get this on the stream before I close it out, grab something to eat, and get ready for work tomorrow. Because I took that extra long weekend this weekend, so it just worked out that I booked the days off, and they realized, oh, hey, I'm taking trade deadline day off, so that's why I did the stream. Because there's no way I would have been able to do a live stream at the office at the same time. It just wouldn't be possible without doing this, without knowing. Well, we do have a few more answers to the Carter Kell trade, as the Carter Kell is going to the Pittsburgh Penguins for the Anaheim Ducks. It still says prospect, a 2022 second-round draft pick, and then a couple players mentioned, Zach Ashawn-Reese, the left winger, and Dominic Simon, who was here last season, right winger, all going to Anaheim's way. So maybe the prospect could still be a player that they pick later, still figuring that out. But I guess there's 4 pieces going to the Anaheim Ducks for Carter Kell, so you could say that's a fairly major deal that happened on deadline day. Carter Kell was one of the top 3 on the TSN's trade beat board. But we still don't know. Oh, yeah, I already mentioned that in the Sportsnet app on the return for Max Domi. It looks like that's just a 1-for-1 deal. That's the thing you got to wonder about Max Domi is he's been looked upon as that highly coveted prospect, but he's definitely moved around a lot. And he hasn't had like a longer than a couple years stay. I mean, I remember he was a Blue Jacket go to Carolina. He was a Av, he was a Coyote. I think he was a Ranger at first, I think. I mean, yeah, he's famously known for being related to Ty Domi, the enforcer. But that's one of those players that seems like it just moves around a lot, that he's wanted but doesn't stay for long either. And you guys got to wonder how many more teams can he go before people just don't bother taking him. I was going to see if there's anything else. I haven't seen any new trades that has come down the pipe, so it might be almost safe to, in the next 15 minutes, it might be safe to log out and say thanks for the stream and see how it goes and how much more people would watch my stream later in the later once it comes down, because I'll just leave this stream live on my channel, as I think my game plan has slightly changed. As I think for live streams, I'm not going to be doing it like every day like some other bigger YouTubers do, where if you did live stream every day, it would be more worth to have a separate channel. But I think now my game plan is any sports related live streams, let's say like the NHL trade deadline, or if I decide to do, like, say, a live stream of the draft, NHL draft, CFL draft, I'll do it on this channel. Then on my second channel, that's when I'll maybe do some more reaction videos or have like memes or anything prepared. I think I'll do that on the second channel because I also look at my second channel still as more of a kind of an experimentary channel too. But I put my shorts on my second channel because I don't think it would mix in with my main channel, especially with more longer form content. But it is what it is. Well, yeah, I mean, it's still been a fun way to follow the trade deadline. I still would have liked more action, and I mean, slowly you get more subscribers. I mean, I still like to get to those thresholds, but I gotta try to put in the work when I can, and it just seems like I don't have much time to do the other work. And if I were to put even more work in the video, then you'd only see a video like once every 6 months. I wouldn't grow that way, but I still hope that later this year I'll get to do some more my secondary content and logging on the go. But it also depends on when it comes to how I travel, or if I do travel this year. But we'll see if there's anything else on the trade deadline, as there always still is a few more trades that sneak in. But I am still thinking that we're getting to the tail end, because we're 51 minutes past the deadline, and it's just still the matter of getting the figuring out the final pieces of the trades that come in. Like I say, it's been 40 minutes since a new trade has come in. That I haven't seen any new trades, so we're still waiting on what the return is on Andrew Kopp. As we just got new information on the Derek Brassard trade, that when Derek Brassard is going to Edmonton, that the Flyers are retaining 50% of his salary. So that's just a new detail we got on that trade. So let's see how many trades we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 trades dated today. So if 30 is the record, we still got 23 trades, but this was more of quantity and supposed to quality of trades. I mean, the biggest trade is the Marc-Andre Fleury to Chicago going from Chicago to Minnesota. Then I would say the other trades that are in there that I'm going to say are fairly big is the Arturi Lehkonen from Montreal to Colorado. Then I'm going to say you have the Max Domi, the Andrew Kopp trade, but their Carter Kell trade, I think that would be my second place trade for biggest trade of the day. But when I say the Calgary Flames, well, we lost Brad Richardson to waivers to the Vancouver Canucks, but we picked up forward Ryan Carpenter from the Chicago Blackhawks for a 2024 fifth-round pick. So I'm going to say it's a lateral depth move, nothing too earth-shattering, not to get too anxious to buy Carpenter's jersey. I mean, he's a free agent after this year anyway, so you don't know if he's going to still be around next season or not. But still haven't seen Kopp's return yet, which is getting interesting. What it's taking so long? Maybe we got the because we found the return for Cal, which was 4 pieces. But I'm still going to see NHL trades. Let's see. Like I say, Adrian Horschek is the player that's going to Columbus for Max Domi. Yeah, I think we're still waiting on the return for Andrew Kopp, but pretty soon, I think, getting to the tail end, and definitely am feeling my voice going for how long I've been streaming for, which is almost 3.5 hours, yeah. 3.5 hours, wow. I know that some streamers say that they definitely feel it after a while, but it's definitely been fun just to get my first one out of the way and see how it goes. And we'll have this on my channel going forward. Because it's not like I have 500 streams or anything, but I think, what do you think of the moves? If your team made any moves today, what do you like about it or didn't like about it? Or I just say this was definitely a very, very tame NHL trade deadline by comparison to what it potentially could have been, if you ask me. But I'm just giving my first look at OBS and how this live streaming thing works, and this could be something I'll be doing more of in the future, just to add it to my channel. I finally took the plunge. I mean, I wish I could have had a few more people watch it, but this is me talking about the NHL trade deadline for almost 3.5 hours, which is incredible. That's how I spend my day off, is talking about the NHL trade deadline. But what do you think? Of course, I talked about a couple other tidbits that are in my mind, and a few people I was able to interact with that I appreciate that came in and outlined, more of my plans, what I want to do in the channel. But I think this also forced my game plan on for live streams, because apparently I thought I verified my second channel for my live streams, and it was 24 hours that I had to wait, and then so I might as well just put it on here then. So it is what it is, but I will be making a short on what the Calgary Flames did today, and what they did shortly after I shortly after when I come off here, because it's just going to be a quick short about the waiver claim and the waiver loss, and who we picked up from the Chicago Blackhawks. But wasn't a huge day, and that's exactly what I thought. We weren't going to be doing anything huge today when we made the big move 5 weeks ago, and I guess it was last Wednesday that we acquired Kelly Yarnkirk. It just wasn't until a couple days later that I got around to making the video. I'm just hearing something outside, but I think I'll finish this off and do one more stretch, and I think it's almost time to sign off, because we're almost at 2 o'clock Mountain Time. Oh, yeah. Just good. So yeah, I guess I'll say to close it out. I'm not gonna keep waiting to find out who the returns are for any final trades, but I think I'm confident at this stage now that I'm going to say it's time to wrap it up. And it was great to get my feelings and thoughts in and get a first live stream in with the NHL trade deadline. And I'll just ask, who did you like, didn't like on the trade deadline? Happy for what your team did? I mean, I'm indifferent either way. What I have with the Calgary Flames, I wasn't expecting too much today, and like I said, I'm not going to make a full-length video on losing Brad Richardson to waivers and acquiring Ryan Carpenter from the Chicago Blackhawks. So I'll do a short for that, and I'll talk about that in the next episode of my Calgary Flames of 6, which won't be until next week. And like I said, I still have plans to, with my regular sports content. But yeah, I'm going to say I do want to do more live streams in the future. There'll be two types of live streams I think I could do. It would be the solely sports. I'll put it on my main channel, but and then any other, non-sport experimental live streams, I'll put that on my shorts channel because that's what my hand was forced to have to put it on this one today because it was just this last night that I put OBS on my machine and I thought it verified my second channel for live streaming, and you have that 24-hour wait period. So that's what I did here. But I just want to say it's definitely time to wrap it up. I'm definitely feeling a little tired here. It's 2 o'clock now. We're 1 hour past the NHL trade deadline. I'll take one more peek at if we got any more finalization on the last trades, because I haven't seen any new trades for the last 50 minutes. I think the Ryan Carpenter trade was one of the oh, wait a minute. The Calgary Flames made another trade. We traded Michael McNevin back to the Montreal Canadiens for future considerations. So forget it. That's the new trade. So Michael McNevin is going back to the Montreal Canadiens for future considerations. Basically undoing that trade that we made a couple weeks ago because it was future considerations that we got. So that's funny. So Michael McNevin back to Montreal. That's going to be a short as well. So, yeah, it's hilarious. But we basically undid the trade. So, Michael McNevin back to Montreal for future considerations. So, that's the latest trade that just came in. So, yeah, I think that'd be the way to close it out. Is we eventually traded Michael McNevin back to Montreal for future considerations, basically undoing what we did a couple weeks ago. So anyway, I'll close out this live stream and say if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitman, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, just make sure you like, subscribe, as I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel. I recap games and stories, and this was my first ever live stream, but when I've had time, I do have personal vlogs, attempt at comedy, and I do share my experience in on the road or a sport event for ways to put non-sports content on there. So if that all sounds like be interesting to watch, to follow along with Calgary sports fans journey, you can do just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I have my other social links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me. And of course, there's my Brett Harvey shorts from my second channel, where I exclusively put my short form content on there, that's where I'll put my shorts on what the Calgary Flames did today, where essentially we lost Brad Richardson to the Vancouver Canucks when we put him on waivers, and then we acquired Ryan Carpenter for a 5th round pick in 2024 from the Chicago Blackhawks, and then essentially we sent Michael McNevin back to the Montreal Canadiens for future considerations, basically undoing that trade that we made a couple weeks ago, which is interesting. Why did we do that trade in the first place? Maybe he was on the witness protection program for this company. I don't know. It's funny how these trades work sometimes, but that was the unexpected trade that the Flames made, was getting Michael McNevin, sending them back to Montreal. So I say thanks for watching, and I hope you appreciated my live stream. Those that came in and commented, I tried to interact with those that came in, and hopefully you enjoyed the NHL trade deadline for what it is this year. That hopefully that the team that we have to go to war with, I am liking who we have to go to war with. Hopefully, make a nice run to the playoffs and win the Stanley Cup. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the